what that means. We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only DJ Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com, as of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle wait for it. Wait for it. To mankind. Woo! This is the official lightning flash update for January 8th, 2022. As we are just 7 hours away from the AEW Battle of the Belt show. I am already out of breath. Give me a minute. That's how you do an intro, people. That's how you do an intro. A lot of people could take pointers from me because let me tell you something. There are too many people that are way too cookie cutter. Very boring. Very boring. No energy. No hype. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Let's check the chat over here. Look at what we got. I believe this guy right here. I believe this guy is Chris. He's from the UK. He's a good dude. Very good dude. He's actually training to become a wrestler, so best of luck to him. Thank you for joining. We got Rob Wells Jr. Rob Wells Jr., he has been a loyal supporter of mine for a while now, and I greatly appreciate all of his support. We got Adam Carl. Adam Carl, always great to see Mr. Adam Carl as a part of the chat. We got Matt Moody. Matt Moody, he is a fantastic guy. Hopefully, I wish to have him back on the channel very, very soon. We also got Peanuts. Peanuts, he's also a loyal supporter. Much respect and much love to Peanuts. And then, of course, we got Dee Dee. I know Dee Dee's in the chat as well. Greatly appreciate Dee Dee. Dee Dee, she's the one that shares out my streams a lot. And she's the one that's always in the chat, making sure that everyone's in check. Making sure that everyone's in check, because if you ain't in check, you're going to get put down. You're going to get blocked. You're going to get reported. You're going to get your ass put in your place by the number one mod, Dee Dee. Don't fuck with Dee Dee. I want everyone to know that. Do not fuck with her. Now then, we have a lot to discuss here. We have a lot to discuss. There is a lot of news, a lot of rumors to dissect, a lot of things to go over. A lot of things have been happening here in the world of professional wrestling, and we are only 1 week into 2022. Of course, we got the Battle of the Belts pay-per-view tonight. It is only a 1 hour special. Very lackluster build, but I do expect a semi-decent show from AEW, because with AEW, you know we're going to get some decent professional wrestling. We also have the Royal Rumble coming up in a couple weeks as well. And we have 2 world title matches set for the Royal Rumble. The 2 Royal Rumble matches are looking terrible. And trust me, we'll go over that as well. I see Xavier. Xavier's in the chat. Xavier, he is a friend of Mr. Mikey Williams. Hopefully we see Mikey in the chat as well. I hope to have Mikey back on the channel as well, because Mikey's a good dude. He's a very knowledgeable dude. I'll tell you who else is a very knowledgeable dude. Lil Stevie. Lil Stevie, I had him on the rundown for AEW Battle of the Belts. We talked about a lot of things, including Jake Atlas getting signed. We talked about the potential signing of Charlotte Flair if she decides to leave WWE. Obviously, she'll go under the name Ashley Flair. We did talk about the possible signing of Tessa Blanchard and where her career might go if she is able to get somewhat of a halfway decent reputation before the end of this year. We talked about that. He actually said that Ruby Soho is going to be the one to take the title off of Britt Baker. So we discussed a lot of things, including our predictions for AEW Battle of the Belts, which of course is tonight on TNT at 8 p.m. Should be a halfway solid event. Please do not forget, obviously, do not forget that you need to follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at the DJ_Storms. That is the DJ_Storms on Twitter and Instagram. Add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Like the official DJ Storms business page. I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook. That is, all of those links are in the description. We are almost 7 minutes into the stream. I'm not sure what you're doing, but if you have not liked the stream already, please make sure you hit that like button. It is vital. It is absolutely vital that you hit that like button. It is also very vital that you share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I'm talking about Twitter. I'm talking about Instagram. I'm talking about Facebook and Snapchat and TikTok and Pinterest and Tumblr, whatever social media platforms that you may use, all right? Whatever social media platforms that you may use, please make sure you share out the stream on all of those platforms so that way we can get as many people in here as possible. Of course, tomorrow we got the rewind for AEW Battle of the Belts, and I will be joined by BMAC. He is an individual that is a part of the Midwest Marks crew, and he is one of the individuals of the Midwest Marks podcast. He will be joining me tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time to review Battle of the Belts as well as go over the Big Swole situation with Tony Khan. I actually am very interested to hear his take on everything that's going on between those two. Obviously, you already know my take. I think Big Swole is a fucking idiot, and I think Tony Khan was not wrong in anything that he did or said, but we are going to go over that tomorrow as well as review Battle of the Belts. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button. It is vital. Hit the subscribe button. And, of course, hit the notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because, whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube because it's the only time you gonna get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combo and this beautiful mustache right here. I did touch it up, but we still gonna light it up. I know this is Earl Cole's favorite part of the show. Earl Cole's not here right now. Don't know why, but I'm sure we'll see him at some point during the chat. But we're going to light it up. This one's for Earl Cole right here. Light it up right here on the channel with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of like Campbell's soup. It's so good. Because everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. You already know the drill. Anyway, enough of the self-brand promotion, the advertisements. We're going to get straight into the festivities here on the LFU. I get a report from Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer was in the news a lot today, actually. First off, Meltzer actually reported that there is a current plan in place for Becky Lynch. She's going to square off against Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 38. He stated, and I quote, "They booked it not to kill Liv Morgan off and to go again because I think, I don't know this, but I think the Mania match is probably Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch. So they need something to take time because they don't want to do the match before Mania if that is your big Mania match. So you have to keep this thing going for as long as you can." End quote. Now, listen, I love Bianca Belair. I'm pretty sure everyone in this chat is a big advocate for Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is a next level talent. Bianca Belair is a woman that you build a brand around. Bianca Belair is a woman in which you make the face of your brand. Bianca Belair is a future Hall of Famer for years to come. But let's be real here. Do you care about Bianca Belair in this current state right now? Do you? Every single time I look at Bianca Belair, all I think of is 26 seconds at SummerSlam. She hasn't recovered. And no, a couple of wins over Doudrop is not going to do anything. Doudrop was already a dead act just based off of her name alone. And now we're getting Bianca Belair, Liv Morgan, and Doudrop in a triple threat match. Winner faces Becky Lynch at the Rumble. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if it is Liv Morgan. But at this rate, they really don't have anybody else. They have Rhea Ripley, but she's still caught up with Nikki Trash. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I'm not sure why they are just dragging this storyline along with Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. Just break them up. It's like AJ and Omos. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about Omos. Nobody gives a shit about Nikki ASH. No one gives a shit about Rhea Ripley anyway. But at this rate, you may as well try and salvage what is going on. And at the end of the day, just break them up. Break them up and put Rhea Ripley in a position where she could possibly win the Women's Royal Rumble. At this rate, she's probably your best option. Bianca Belair has already had her time, and you're going to have to do a lot than just putting Bianca Belair against Becky and having her beat Becky in order to erase that. Think about this. I've said this numerous times. Bianca Belair won the Women's Royal Rumble, won at WrestleMania, won her first ever Women's Hell in a Cell match. She outlasted all of that, all to lose to Becky Lynch in 26 seconds. No one is going to forget about that. I'm sorry. Nobody. You're going to have to do a lot. But as far as Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch, we've seen that time and time again. I don't really understand why we need to see it again. And it is probably the best option. For WWE to break Rhea Ripley away from Nikki ASH or Nikki TRASH as quickly as possible. Put her in a position in which she can win the Women's Royal Rumble and she can face Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. I would actually give the title to Rhea Ripley. Moving on here, we got Bryan Alvarez. He discussed the plans for Big E. Now, I believe it was Fightful that reported that actually Seth Rollins was supposed to win the championship before Lesnar got added. But Bryan Alvarez actually said that Big E was going to retain before Lesnar was added last minute due to Roman Reigns going down with COVID-19. Now, I'm not really sure what to believe there, but this was in the news. I would have absolutely kept the title on Big E and actually tried to salvage what you could with Big E. And trust me, we're going to talk about Big E as well, because the big story here on the LFU, the tenured members of the management team, at least a lot of people backstage behind the scenes outside of the usual suspects like Vince and Bruce and John Laurinaitis, they don't give a shit. But a lot of people backstage feel as though Big E was underutilized as WWE Champion. Yeah, no shit. We're going to talk about that, but Bryan Alvarez is reporting that Big E was actually slated to retain. And I find it so funny. That when WWE calls an audible, it's the same shit over and over again. And they don't do anything different. They don't do anything spontaneous. They don't do anything in an attempt to try and generate any sort of interest. They don't push new stars. They don't create any new stars. They do the same thing with the same exact people in the same exact position over and over and over again. New Day and the Usos, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. It's the same people in the same position over and over again. And I'm going to bring this up when we talk about Dynamite, because it's so funny how with AEW, when they call an audible, they actually create new stars and give the championships to someone that we haven't seen before. Jurassic Express won the tag team titles because Rey Fenix went down with an injury. Meanwhile, when Roman Reigns goes down with an injury, what do? They give the fucking WWE Championship to Brock Lesnar. I honestly feel a little bad for Biggie. I really do. I really do. Moving on, I got a report from Fightful that should not be a surprise to anybody. WWE has absolutely no plans for Veer Mahan. Send Veer, they say. Are you shocked? Are you shocked? I'm not. Are you at all surprised at this? WWE doesn't have plans for 96-97% of the fucking roster. Unless your name is Charlotte, Becky, Lesnar, or Roman, no one has any plans. They're flying by the skin of their fucking pants. They're just doing shit on the fly, week to week. Plans are changing every single hour on the hour. No one has any sense of fucking direction. Nobody. So are you shocked that Veer Mahan doesn't have any plans? I'm not. I'm not at all. Matter of fact, I can see Veer Mahan being released at some point this year. Don't know when. Don't know how. Don't know how it's going to come to fruition. Not really sure when it's going to come. It could come any week now, but I don't expect Veer to be a mainstay on Monday Night Raw. I expect him to just continuously go through these coming to Raw vignettes only to be released when all is said and done. Hell, we could very well see Veer appear. He could have one fucking match and then get released. If you remember fucking Kazarni, all the way back in 2008. I remember when I first started watching WWE, Kazarni came in and he had one match against MVP. He won, and then he got released. He just wasn't getting over. You really think Veer Mahan is going to get over? No, he ain't. WWE has no plans for Veer Mahan. Doesn't surprise me at all. They don't have plans for 97% of their fucking roster. Veer Mahan is on borrowed time. He will be released sooner rather than later. WrestlingNews.co confirmed on January 5th that Matt Striker had been released from Impact Wrestling. I don't really know why, but apparently, they didn't like his performance. I don't know why, because Matt Striker was actually a pretty decent commentator. He actually knows the business. He could actually help. With what is going on in Impact Wrestling. But no, the management team thought his services were not needed. Impact Wrestling, I mean, who really cares about Impact Wrestling? I feel bad for Matt Striker, but no one cares about Impact Wrestling. Nobody. Impact Wrestling's been dead. You know, some people are actually trying to say, they're trying to justify Mickie James as a part of the Women's Royal Rumble by saying, oh God, this is great exposure for Impact. They are just so quick to just accept whatever they are given and suck the dick of anyone, figuratively speaking, of course, that supports WWE or works for WWE. Oh, she's a trailblazer. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. We're going to talk about her. And trust me, I'm going to rip Mickie James a new asshole. Trust me on that. I'm going to be ripping Mickie James a new asshole sooner rather than later. You're going to want to stick around until the SmackDown review. Trust me on that. Impact released Matt Striker. I don't know why. I didn't find the problem with him. Impact Wrestling continuing to make shitty decisions. As far as I'm concerned, the Impact management team is no better than Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard, Johnny 5 Packs of Cigarettes, and Timmy Turner, Kevin Dunn. I got a report from Fightful. They recently came out and they said that Jeff Hardy, before he was released, was actually planned for an NXT run. Jeff Hardy was originally planned to be the Shaman for MSK. Now, I'm not really sure how that would have worked out. I'm not really sure if that would have had the same effect as Matt Riddle, because Matt Riddle, he's much more over than Jeff Hardy was in this recent run that both of them have been on. Matt Riddle's clearly more over. And on top of that, what I just find funny is the fact that WWE has been so quick to use main roster talent on NXT now. And has anyone ever wondered why? Has anyone ever wondered why? It's because now Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, they are now in control of everything NXT related. See, if Triple H was in charge, they couldn't give two shits. Triple H was in charge, they would do everything in their power to shun away everything related to NXT. And I'm telling you right now, when we get to the part which is coming up very, very soon, and I got a lot to say about this shit, we're coming up to the part in which we're going to talk about the recent releases of a lot of backstage talent, all in relations to Triple H. All in relations to Triple H. I find it so funny how no one is questioning why all of these main roster talents, Matt Riddle and AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy, they were all in the plans or they have already been used on NXT. Everyone ever think about why? It's because of the simple fact that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard are in control. And if Triple H was in charge, they wouldn't allow anyone to go anywhere near NXT because Triple H would actually treat them better and further embarrass Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. Now, Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard, they have full control over NXT. They could do whatever the fuck they want. Oh, it's our show now. It's our show now. We can do whatever we want. It's our show now. So we're going to use Matt Riddle and AJ Styles and Jeff Hardy on the show. Moving on. Brian Alvarez on Wrestling Observer Live. He said that the WrestleMania main event is still planned to be Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, but it will not be a title for title or a unification match. Now, they did tease a unification match with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns last night on SmackDown, and they did say, hey, you know what? Why don't we do a title for title match? Give the people what they want, said Lesnar. We're going to talk about that as well, but they did tease it. Now, just because they teased it, that doesn't mean that they're going to go forth with it. Matter of fact, it could be just that. It could be a tease. It could be a tease, and it could be WWE just giving us the middle finger. It could be WWE giving us the middle finger and saying, "Hi, we know what you want. You want us to end the brand split? Oh, no, fuck you. We're not going to end the brand split. We're going to tease it, but we're not going to do it. We're going to have Brock Lesnar lose the title to Lashley, win the Rumble." Now, I'm not sure if that's really going to happen. That's one route that they could go. They could have Lesnar lose the title to Lashley only to enter the Rumble, win the Rumble out of frustration, and get Roman Reigns at WrestleMania anyway. They could do that. Or I was thinking about this. They could do this. The Saudi show is coming up in February, right? The Saudi show is coming up in February. They could very well do the Saudi Arabian show with Brock Lesnar getting through the show as WWE Champion, Roman Reigns getting through the show as Universal Champion. Then what we could have is we could have the Elimination Chamber in March. I'm not sure if they're going to do that, but I wouldn't put it past WWE to do the Elimination Chamber in March. We'd have the Elimination Chamber in March, right? Elimination Chambers in March. We could have Lesnar defend the WWE title inside the Elimination Chamber, right? He could lose the title inside the Elimination Chamber to a Monday Night Raw superstar, and then a Monday Night Raw superstar could win the Rumble, and then whoever wins the Elimination Chamber and takes the title off of Lesnar inside the chamber, said individual defends the WWE title against the winner of the Royal Rumble. Then, after Lesnar loses the WWE Championship, we could very well have Lesnar entering another elimination chamber later on in the show to determine the number one contender for Roman Reigns' Universal Championship, similar to what Edge did at No Way Out in 2009. Edge was the WWE Champion going into that show. He lost the WWE Championship at the beginning of the show inside the chamber. Then, later on that night, he attacked Kofi Kingston. And he took Kofi Kingston's spot in the World Heavyweight title elimination chamber, and he walked out of the show with the World Heavyweight title. We could very well see Lesnar lose the WWE title inside the first elimination chamber at the beginning of the night, only to win the second elimination chamber later on in the show. He could attack someone that is involved in that chamber, take their place, win the match, and go on to fight Roman at WrestleMania. We could see that. Now, either way, all of those ideas are terrible. If all roads do not lead to Lesnar versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, title for title, with Roman Reigns winning both titles, unifying the titles, and ending the brand split, all of this is nothing more than a colossal waste of time. It's a waste of time. It's a complete waste of time, because at the end of all of this, I've said it once and I'll say it again, and if you're not understanding this and you are not seeing this with your very eyes, you are the exact problem with not only the wrestling community, but with the entire wrestling society as well. You are the problem with the wrestling fan base, and you are the reason why WWE is not getting better. If you are not understanding this, and if you are not seeing what is right in front of your face, you are a complete retard, and I have no problems going right up to your face and calling you just that. The brand split is not necessary anymore. It's not. It's not. 5 years ago, it was. You know why? Because WWE had an overabundance of talent. They had an overabundance of talent. It was just so crowded on the WWE roster to a point in which people were getting shoved down the card when they should really be pushed up the card. But with the brand split offered many different opportunities. But WWE failed. They failed to create any new stars minus AJ Styles and Drew McIntyre. Some people could argue that AJ Styles was already a made man before he came into the WWE, but at the end of the day, at the end of all of this, WWE never embraced the brand split. They never created any new stars. They pushed the same people in the same exact positions, and on top of all of that, they released 200 people over the course of the last 2 years to a point where your roster is nothing more than skin and bones. Your roster is nothing more than skin and bones. You have absolutely no competition for any of your champions. It's still the same people in the same position over and over again. It's the same exact feuds, the same exact matches, the same exact storylines, the same exact promos, week in and week out with the same exact people. The brand split is unnecessary anymore, and if you combine the rosters, things would be a lot better. You'd be able to give your champions competition. You wouldn't have to put your champions in a situation in which they lose every single fucking week, and it would make the championships feel more important than they are. Because right now, the only title that has any sort of importance is the Universal Championship, and that's because of what Roman Reigns is doing. But at the end of the day, I mean, you are absolutely fucking kidding yourself if you're going to try and tell me that the brand split is necessary. The brand split is completely unnecessary. The tag team divisions and the women's divisions on both shows are non-existent. There's no competition for Roman Reigns, so much so that they were bringing in John Cena, they brought back Lesnar, they're bringing Seth Rollins over from Monday Night Raw. End it. End it. It's not necessary anymore, and you're only doing yourself a disservice. You're only doing yourself a disservice if you don't end the brand split, because the more that you keep this brand split going, the more of the same we're going to get. If all roads do not lead to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar title unification match with Roman winning both titles and finally ending the brand split for good, This is all a complete waste of time. And I'm going to question why you even gave Lesnar the WWE Championship to begin with. I'm going to question why you even gave him the title to begin with. Oh, wait a minute. That's right. Because you revert back to the same old bullshit and you fail to create new stars. Roman must unify the titles at WrestleMania. If there's any other plan other than that, it's a complete waste of time. And Lesnar winning the title and destroying what you attempt to create with Big E, or at least destroying the potential that Big E had to be a dominant champion and be a top star in WWE, Lesnar winning the title would have all been for nothing. All for nothing. I mean, what do I even say about what we're gonna talk about next? What do I even say? WWE, they released numerous amounts of individuals this week. It all started on Wednesday. Sean Ross Sapp, he reported on Wednesday that Road Dogg Brian James, D-O-G-G, had been released from the WWE. He then followed up with David Kapoor, formerly known as Ranjin Singh. He'd been let go. Chris Guy, aka Ace Steel, who worked as a center coach, he was released. Then came Ryan Katz, an NXT creative producer, Scott Armstrong, and William Regal. The releases continued. I'm not done yet. The releases continued with talent being released. Hideki Suzuki of Diamond Mine, who I don't think had a fucking match in NXT. He wasn't even fucking utilized in Diamond Mine. He was just there. The Japanese guy, he was just there. Didn't even say a word. Didn't even compete in a match. He was just there. They let him go. Danny Burch. Only Lorcan was released. I was wondering when Danny Burch was going to be released. Danny Burch, fired. Timothy Thatcher, the partner of Tommaso Ciampa for quite some time. The partner of Tommaso Ciampa for the majority of 2021. Fired. Timothy Thatcher's gone. Gabe Sapolsky, another backstage team member. He was released on Thursday, as well as Matt Bloom and Samoa Joe. And as far as I know, those are all of the releases. For now. Those are all the releases for now. I have not heard any new releases. I have not heard any more firings up to this point. I'm looking diligently to see who else has been fired, but as of right now, I have no idea who else has been fired. I have no idea. I don't know what to say at this rate. I really don't. I really don't want to spend too much time on this, but I feel as though I'll probably go on and end up talking for 20 minutes about this anyway. I have a feeling the stream's going to go 3 hours anyway. There's really nothing for me to say. There's really nothing that I could say that I haven't already said. There's really nothing that I can say that others haven't already said. I'm pretty sure that what I'm about to say has already been said by so many other people. I find it so funny. I find it so funny how everyone was so quick to shun and shut down anyone. And there were a couple of people. It wasn't too overwhelming, but there were a couple. It wasn't just me. It wasn't just me at all. I'm just one of a crowd. I'm not a guy that's really going to stand out amongst the crowd. I'm not really a guy that's going to really grab so many people's attention. I'm not a guy that's going to have 500 to 1,000 people watching him on a weekly basis. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not famous. But even I knew what was going on, and I was shunned out by all of these individuals, these apologists, and these people with superstars and fucking basketball athletes as their avatars, and people that are standing the fucking WWE divas, the fucking Alicia Fox stands and the Bella Twin stands, and the people that look for any scenario where they just want to praise something even though they know something sucks dick. They want to praise even though they know for a fact that I'm right, and numerous amounts of people like me are right. I'm not going to take credit for calling this. I wasn't the only one saying this. There were so many other people calling this, podcasters and fans alike. I swear to God. But at the end of the day, maybe people should start listening to me. Maybe when the 22 going on 23-year-old kid with thick black sideburns from New Jersey tells you what's going on when it comes to professional wrestling, maybe you should fucking listen to him. Maybe you should start fucking listening to me. Because at the end of the day, do not have any inside sources. I am not trying to get a spot on Sirius Radio. I'm not trying to get on Busted Open Radio. I am not trying to make money off of this. I haven't made a single dime off of any stream or any video that I've uploaded. I am not doing this for the fame. I'm not doing this for the likes. I am not doing this for the retweets. I'm not doing this to make any sort of money. I have a job outside of what I do on here, and I'm working there to build my financial future. I'm not making money off of this. I have started this because I have a passion for professional wrestling that can't be broken. And at the end of the day, so many people are blinded by their fandom, and they're blinded by their own mentality in which they can't say anything bad or they can't go against the grain. Nobody can go against the grain. Nobody can say anything out of the ordinary. Nobody can go against the agenda and the narrative given to us by social media or the general public. And if anyone does, they are automatically looked at as Satan himself. I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks of Triple H. NXT 2.0 is a fucking embarrassment. NXT 2.0 should have never been a thing. NXT 2.0 blows rhinoceros cock. And if you are in support of it, you blow rhinoceros cock yourself. And you are the fucking problem with everything related to WWE. You are the reason why WWE is in the shit situation that it's in right now. You're the reason why Triple H was forcefully removed from his position as the head director of NXT. I don't even know what else I could say. I really don't. And Triple H, I've said this numerous amounts of times. I've discussed this and talked about this numerous amounts of times. Triple H went against the grain. Triple H did what Tony Khan is doing right now. He did everything that Vince McMahon didn't do. Focused on wins and losses, created new stars. He didn't care what they looked like. He didn't care what they sounded like. He didn't care what their fucking skin color was or hair color or how big their muscles were, how small their muscles were, whether they were 5'6" or 6'4". They didn't care. Triple H created star after star after star after star. Triple H was creating stars right in front of everybody's eyes. The people that Triple H was molding in NXT should have been the people that we see on Raw and SmackDown right now. Instead, we see them on AEW. You know when Triple H's fate was sealed? NXT TakeOver Dallas in 2016. Now, NXT was gaining a lot of traction. NXT was gaining a lot of a lot of buzz at that time, but TakeOver Dallas, that TakeOver was the nail in the coffin. That TakeOver was the nail in the coffin. And you know why? You know why? Shinsuke Nakamura, a complete unknown to the WWE audience. Shinsuke Nakamura came over from New Japan Pro Wrestling, right? He came over from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He went into TakeOver Dallas 2 days before what was supposed to be the biggest WrestleMania of all time, WrestleMania 32. He went in there with Sami Zayn, who was also competing on WrestleMania's card. He went in there with Sami Zayn. He put on a match of the year candidate, and he made the biggest impact of any debuting superstar in the modern day history of WWE. He had the best match of the entire fucking year. Stole the entire weekend, so much so that they were chanting his name during the WrestleMania 32 main event of Triple H versus Roman Reigns. Right then and there, Triple H's fate was sealed, and every single time someone got called up from NXT, Vince McMahon destroyed everything that said superstar was. They destroyed everything that superstar was made to be in NXT. And it just continued month after month, and the months turned into years. And then AEW came around. And all AEW did was speed up the process. NXT was on borrowed time. Who knows how long NXT would have lasted? It probably would have lasted a little bit longer if AEW didn't come around, but it was only a matter of time. Before NXT completely outshined everything the main roster was. They were. But could you imagine if AEW never became a thing? Could you imagine if Triple H decided to expand NXT to a fucking stadium show? Can you imagine if Triple H decided to expand NXT to a fucking stadium show and they sold out fucking Madison Square Garden and they sold out fucking MetLife Stadium, Levi Stadium, SoFi Stadium, AT&T Stadium, whatever fucking stadium you want to call? Can you imagine what would have happened if AEW never came around and NXT continued to grow bigger? Vince McMahon merely wanted to destroy everything that Triple H created simply because of the fact that he knew Triple H was doing things the right way. I don't give a shit who you are. I don't give a shit what you think. I don't give a shit what anyone says. The fact of the matter is, and that's what comes out of my mouth, and you're going to have to get used to that. Fact of the matter is, Triple H was doing things the right way. Vince McMahon, he was too stubborn, he was too deluded, he was too petty, and too envious to admit that. Vince McMahon has a deluded mentality in which he thinks he is God. Triple H, he didn't think he was God. He just wanted to give back to the fans. He wanted to create new stars, and he had a better vision than Vince McMahon could ever fucking have. Vince McMahon, he can't do it anymore. Triple H was doing it. He knew what had to be done, and he knew exactly what everything needed to be when it came to the WWE product. And if you say otherwise, you are a fucking retard, and I will gladly walk up to you, stare you right in the face, and call you a retard. I don't care. Vince McMahon saw AEW coming around. He put Triple H right at the forefront. He threw Triple H and his people, his soldiers, up in front of the battle lines with AEW, specifically to do one thing: destroy Triple H and everything that he built. He killed everything related to Triple H over the course of the last 3 years that they've been going up against AEW. He saw AEW as a prime opportunity to destroy NXT. If Triple H, I'm gonna call this right now. I'm saying this right now. If Triple H was running the WWE and Vince was out of power, there would not be an AEW. The Bucks, Omega, Kota Ibushi, MJF, all these people that you see in New Japan and Impact and fucking AEW, all of these people, Jurassic Express, Proud and Powerful, all these people that you see in AEW, they would all be signed to WWE. You know why? Because Triple H knows how they should be booked. Triple H never wanted to monopolize the industry. And if you're going to tell me otherwise, again, I have no problem calling you a retard. Triple H didn't want to monopolize the industry. Triple H wanted to help the industry. Triple H would have been the one working with all of these different promotions, with NWA and New Japan Pro Wrestling and all these other promotions, because of the simple fact that Triple H wanted the industry to thrive. He wanted the independent scene to thrive because he wanted to gain new stars. He didn't care about trying to build homegrown talent anymore. He didn't have that same mentality if I didn't create it, then it's nothing. Vince McMahon has that mentality. And Vince McMahon, he thinks he's Jesus Christ himself and he can do no wrong. Oh, you don't defy me, Paul. You don't defy me, Hunter. It's exactly what Triple H did. He went against the grain. He did everything that Vince McMahon didn't do with a center focus around professional wrestling. AEW is exactly what professional wrestling should be. And if you are going to tell me that you are not in support of what Tony Khan is doing and you are not in support of what Tony Khan has created, you are not a professional wrestling fan. We don't need you in the community. Get the fuck out and find a new hobby. We don't need you. We don't want you here. You are a cancer, just like Vince. I find it so funny that now all of these major sources like Fightful and Meltzer and Brian Alvarez and all these other sources, Ringside News, Wrestle Talk, Cultaholic, all these people find it so funny that now they want to report the fact that Triple H and his team have been forcefully removed from power. I find it so funny now. Now you want to report it. Now you want to tell everyone what people like me, the smart people, already know. Now you want to tell everyone that Triple H has been eradicated from the WWE system. Now you want to tell everyone that Triple H and his team members are being punished because Vince McMahon is petty and envious. And this is a direct attack on Triple H. And then all of these people are just so quick to accept the fact, at least NXT 2.0 is creating new stars. That's exactly what Triple H was doing. I'm so fucking ashamed. I really am. I'm ashamed to be a part of a community of people who are just so fucking retarded. Sometimes I wish, I swear to God, I wish that there were a million people like me. But there's not. It's only one. There are people that are close. They're close to me. But there's nobody like me. There's no one that's as intelligent as me. And let me tell you something. It's not bragging if it's true. It's not bragging if it's true. It's just me telling you the facts. That's what I do. That's why I get so much hate. The reason why I get so much hate is because I am stern. I am firm with what I say. I am straightforward. I am cutthroat. I am unfiltered. And I am one of the very few people in the community, whether I be a big content creator or a small content creator. I'm one of the very few people, not only in the wrestling community, but in the world, that will tell you exactly what is right in front of your face, and I will tell you exactly what you are witnessing. I will tell you the truth. And I don't give a shit about anyone's feelings. I don't care. I've literally ended friendships over this. I've ended friendships over this because this right here, this has been one of the most important things in my life. Minus my health, minus my job, minus my family. Those are above and beyond the three most important things in my life right now. My job, my health, and my family. But this is absolutely on my top 5 priorities list. I have a passion with professional wrestling that cannot be broken. And if you are going to try and deny everything that is taking place right before your very eyes and try and make excuses and try and go along with the agenda, these invalid statements that, oh, Triple H, he never cared. I don't feel bad for Triple H. At least NXT 2.0 is creating new stars. You're not a pro wrestling fan. You're not a pro wrestling fan at all. Get out of the community. We don't need you. We don't want you. You don't deserve to be a part of anything pro wrestling related if you are not going to say what I'm saying. There's nothing more that anyone can say regarding this. None of these releases surprise me. William Regal doesn't surprise me. Samoa Joe doesn't surprise me. Matt Bloom doesn't surprise me. Timothy Thatcher, Danny Burch, Hideki Suzuki, Ryan Katz, Road Dogg doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me at all. At this rate, what we are witnessing here is a complete extermination to which there will be no one left but Shawn Michaels and Triple H himself. And when NXT 2.0 continues to fail and they don't generate the rating that Vince McMahon wants, what's going to happen then? You're going to blame Shawn Michaels? You're going to fire Shawn Michaels? I wouldn't be surprised if Shawn Michaels is fired before the year is over. And we're only 8 days into 2022. I wouldn't be surprised if all that's going to be left is Triple H himself, working a day job, writing notes on a notepad. I feel so bad for Triple H. And if you're not feeling for Triple H, and the vision that he had, and the way that he wanted to improve the WWE product and give back to the fan base, just like Tony Khan is doing, you are exactly what is wrong with the wrestling community. I have absolutely no respect for you. You don't belong here. You don't belong as a part of the wrestling community, and you do not belong on social media. You don't belong in this world. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't. All my respect has gone out the window for anyone and everyone that has ever tried to defy me when it came to this situation and tried to defy anyone that has told you the truth and you shun them away because you're a deluded idiot. I feel so bad for Triple H and all of his team members. All that's going to be left is Shawn Michaels and Triple H. And when NXT 2.0 doesn't generate the ratings that they want, they'll release Shawn Michaels. When someone, Bruce or Kevin Dunn or John Laurinaitis, when they are down there running NXT themselves, what are they going to do next? Are they going to say that everything's fine because they're running it, even though the product continues to fail? I cannot wait to see NXT 2.0 fail. I cannot wait to see the ratings continue to go downhill because I want to see the faces. I wish I could. I wish I could see the reaction of Vince and White Castle Pritchard, Johnny Five Packs Cigarettes, fucking Timmy Turner, Kevin Dunn, and Nick Khan. I wish I could see the faces on them whenever NXT 2.0 inevitably fails. I wouldn't be surprised if NXT is off the USA Network after the current deal is done. And my final report, we're going to check the chat after my final report, and then we'll get into the weekly show reviews. We'll get into the weekly show reviews because we got a lot to talk about. A lot of shit happened this week in professional wrestling, and we have a lot to dissect. My last report. According to Fightful, many inside WWE weren't impressed with how Big E was handled as the WWE Champion. Interesting. So, the site stated, and I quote, stated this. When asked backstage about reactions to the move, most felt that Big E wasn't booked consistently throughout his title reign, and that multiple people involved with his ongoing storyline would go above and beyond to make sense of things on screen to the best of their abilities. End quote. Long story short, people felt that Big E was underutilized. I mean, no shit. Like I said, in relations to Veer Mahan and the fact that Veer Mahan doesn't have any plans, 96-97% of the fucking roster in WWE is being underutilized. Minus Lesnar, Roman, Charlotte, and Becky. Matter of fact, those four individuals are being overutilized. Those four individuals are being overutilized to a point where they could actually benefit if those four individuals are scaled back a bit and we actually get some new individuals at the forefront being made into superstars. But that seems to be a foreign language to Vince McMahon and White Castle Pritchard. Give me the whole left side of the menu. Give me 50 White Castle sliders, Pritchard. My name's Mr. John Laurinaitis. And Timmy Turner, Cosmo Wanda. I wish that the WWE Universe would do what I say. Fucking Kevin Dunn. Biggie was underutilized. No shit. Big E, I'm going to tell everyone the fact of the matter right now. And if you don't understand or don't comprehend this, and if you don't understand that this is the absolute gospel truth, you, my friend, are completely lost in your own bubble and you need serious psychiatric help. Big E was given the WWE Championship back on September 13th, 2021 at the hands of Bobby Lashley simply as a desperate attempt to generate an ounce of interest in the WWE product. Because at that time, AEW was beating Monday Night Raw, which is supposed to be the flagship show for WWE in the ratings. The 18 to 49 demographic rating, to be specific. And that right there is the demo in which the most money is made. And WWE can't have this t-shirt company. They can't have this non-competition company beating out us, which is supposed to be the top of the line in pro wrestling, even though Nick Khan said they're not a pro wrestling company. But at the end of the day, oh no, we can't have this schmuck company beating us in the 18 to 49 demo. So what did they do? They had Big E announce his cash-in on Twitter. They announced his cash-in on Twitter. And then he followed through with the cash-in. At that Monday Night Raw event. He beat Bobby Lashley in desperate hopes that WWE would actually generate some sort of interest. At least Bruce and Vince thought that it would generate some sort of interest. It didn't. They just gave Big E the title in a desperate attempt to boost the 18 to 49 demographic rating. It failed, and they did what they do with every other individual not named Lesnar, Roman, Charlotte, and Becky. They completely neglected the individual. They booked week to week. There were no plans for Big E. They had nothing in the works for Big E whatsoever to make his title reign feel meaningful. After the match with Drew McIntyre at Crown Jewel, which was a very good match, I gotta say, very good match, outside of the match with Lashley and the match with McIntyre, after October, Big E's WWE title reign took a big plummet face down on a padding of cement. and his face shattered into a million pieces. Big E was completely neglected. He was neglected. He was underutilized. No one gave a shit about him backstage. At least no one that should have mattered to give a shit about him. Vince didn't care. Bruce didn't care. John Laurinaitis didn't care. Nick Khan didn't care. Kevin Dunn didn't care. They didn't care. They didn't care. And WWE lost in the 18 to 49 demographic later that week. They lost in the 18 to 49 demographic later that week. I don't give a shit what you may think. I don't give a shit what you conjured up in your idiotic mind with your brain the size of my pinky fingernail. Big E was given the WWE Championship with no plans, simply to try and pop some sort of little bit, an eyelash hair of fan interest from WWE, because WWE's ratings, they're sinking lower and lower and lower by the week. They gave Brock Lesnar the WWE Championship, and Brock Lesnar barely scratched the surface of a 1.7 million rating for Monday Night Raw. They can't even peak 2 million with Lesnar as champion again. Who would have thought? Lesnar's not a draw anymore. Big E absolutely deserved better. Big E deserved better. Big E should have waited. Big E could have been built up over the course of 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 months to possibly even beat Roman for the Universal Championship, but they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They didn't do that at all. They just gave Big E the title with no plans whatsoever. He had a 4-month meaningless reign as the WWE Champion. He suffered the same fate as Kofi Kingston as he lost it to Brock Lesnar, and he will never be the WWE Champion again. They still don't have plans for Big E. They're trying to figure out some shit to do with Big E right now. They'll probably end up putting him either in a U.S. title feud with Damian Priest, in which he'll probably lose, or they'll probably put him in some sort of undercard shit with fucking who else? They could fucking bring Happy Corbin over to Monday Night Raw. I mean, they brought Seth Rollins over to SmackDown. They could bring Happy Corbin over to Monday Night Raw and have him feud with fucking Big E. WWE never had plans for Big E. Big E was never in the plans as a guy that was going to be a top priority as the WWE Champion. They gave him the championship to generate interest. When it didn't work, he fell right back into the same category as 97% of the roster, not named Lesnar, Roman, Becky, and Charlotte, and no one had any plans for Big E. No one. Big E was a casualty of WWE just lacking care for everyone not named the 4 individuals that I just said. And that was Big E's WWE Championship reign in a nutshell. Won the title out of a desperate attempt to try and generate ratings because AEW was beating them in the 18 to 49 demo. He had a couple great matches with Lashley and Drew. He had a very lackluster match with Roman, probably Roman's weakest match as the champion, as the top champion, the Universal Champion, simply because of the fact that there was no fucking build to the match. He beat Austin Theory, and then he lost numerous amounts of times to Lashley and Owens and Rollins and whoever else they wanted to have him lose to, ultimately to lose it to Brock Lesnar at WWE Day 1, with Brock Lesnar pinning Big E himself. Big E was underutilized as champion. No shit. So was 96, 97% of the roster. Big E is never going to hold that title again. And if he does, I'd be shocked. If he does, no one's going to give a shit. You're really going to have to build Big E back up as a top guy in order for him to be taken seriously in that role again. Because right now, Big E's very, very lukewarm. No one cares about him. Everyone was rooting for Lashley in that Fatal 4-Way match, and they got it. Now we're getting Lashley versus Lesnar. And again, I will state, all of this revolves, and it should revolve, around Roman and Lesnar title for title unification match at WrestleMania, ending the brand split for good. If it doesn't result in that, you would have sacrificed the opportunity to actually build Big E up as a top guy and actually sacrifice the opportunity to build Big E up as a main event player as the WWE Champion, all for what? To give Lesnar a token title reign, have him lose it to either Lashley or some other schmuck, only to fight Roman for simply the Universal Championship anyway. Title for title unification match, or all of this is a waste of time. And you would have buried Big E for nothing. And that was it. That's all my news, rumors, and reports. We have 6 weekly shows to go over. We have 6 weekly shows to go over. We got Raw, we got NXT New Year's Evil, we got Dynamite, we got NXT UK, we got SmackDown, and we got Rampage. And then, of course, tonight is Battle of the Belts, with tomorrow, B-Mac from the Midwest Marks podcast crew will be joining me to review the show. Let's check the chat. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining the chat. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to Adam Carl. Thank you, Rob Wells Jr. Thank you to Earl Cole. Earl Cole is a great guy. Happy to have him here. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Dee Dee. Thank you, Lisa. And Lisa is saying what everyone is thinking right now. Big E does deserve better. Oh, by the way, Lisa, I was actually watching that Class Action Park special, and I'm not done watching it yet. I'm gonna finish watching it. My God, the people that run that park are fucking worse than Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard running WWE, and I don't believe I just said that. To answer your question, Rob Wells Jr., yes, it is on TNT. It is a 1-hour show. It is on TNT tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's not waste any more time because we have a lot to discuss, including Monday Night Raw, which was fucking terrible, minus a couple of matches. Paul Heyman was in the ring to kick off the show. The lights went out. The lights came back on. Paul Heyman was in the ring. He did his usual shtick, and he introduced Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar came out to the ring. He put the steel steps into the ring. He stood on top of them with the title. He took the mic. He said, "Hey, Roman, get better soon, buddy." He hyped himself up as the real champion. He wished Roman well. And then he goes, "South Carolina, acknowledge me." So obviously a little jab right there at Roman Reigns. So after that, he thanked Heyman. Heyman talked about the reaction backstage. He talked about Lesnar defending the title against one of the people in tonight's Fatal 4-Way, the match that we should have gotten at day 1. He mentioned Roman being vulnerable without a special counsel, and he already caught COVID in 1 week, so they're playing it up in the storyline. He hyped up all the challengers, but he said that they will ultimately lose, whoever faces Lesnar at the Rumble. Typical, but a very good promo from Heyman. That was pretty much it. I still believe that this is all one big plan, and ultimately, when we inevitably get the Lesnar-Roman match, whether it is title for title, a unification match, which it should be, or if it's just for the Universal Championship, I am thoroughly convinced that whoever ends up in a scenario where, okay, we're going to see Roman and Lesnar, whatever happens, all roads are going to lead to Roman and Lesnar in some way, shape, or form. And what we are inevitably going to see is Heyman is going to be a plant working for Roman Reigns all along, and Roman Reigns is going to get help from Heyman, in which Lesnar gets screwed over, and Heyman re-signs with Roman as his special counsel. All roads are leading to that at WrestleMania. Heyman and Lesnar, this is just a temporary thing, and ultimately, it is going to be a scenario in which Roman Reigns is going to be aided once again. Because right now, and let's be real, no one should be beating Roman. No one should be beating Roman. The guy that should be beating Roman is on NXT 2.0, or will be on NXT 2.0. The guy that should be beating Roman is Walter. He's the only guy that is built up enough. They could do Damian Priest, but I don't trust them building up Damian Priest. But no one should be beating Roman, and it certainly shouldn't be Rollins. It certainly shouldn't be Lesnar. No one's beating Roman. RK Bro versus the Alpha Academy. Didn't even go 8 minutes. Riddle was given the world's strongest slam, and Otis pinned Riddle. Champions lose on television again. What a fucking shocker. What a shocker. You know what I fucking hate? I'm still trying to figure out why WWE can't find another fucking way to actually get the challengers to a championship match without having them beat the champions. And then on top of that, why are they doing the Alpha Academy so soon? Next week, we got the Alpha Academy versus RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. I don't know why. Now, I have a theory. Maybe, considering Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, they've been teaming up as of lately. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Alpha Academy lose to RK Bro. Then RK Bro enters the Rumble. Neither of them win. Then we ultimately get the Mysterios versus RK Bro, probably at the Saudi show. Then we ultimately get the team of Rollins and Owens taking the titles off of RK Bro. They're not even a tag team. And they just devalued all the tag teams right then and there if they go forth with that. And Rollins and Owens are the tag team champions. Would not be surprised. But next week we got Riddle and Orton versus Alpha Academy again. This time with the titles on the line. Because, hey, the Alpha Academy beat the champions. Akira Tozawa and Tamina versus Reggie and Dana Brooke. This was a 24/7 championship mixed tag team match. Tozawa accidentally kicked Tamina. Tamina slapped him. Reggie pinned to Tozawa, and he won it for Dana Brooke, and that was that. I don't know who the fuck still finds this entertaining. Just fucking end this shit. That way we don't have to see this shit on WWE television anymore. Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch came out with a mic to address the crowd. Becky then talked about the New Year's resolutions of people in the back to become the Raw Women's Champion. But she says that she plans on staying champion. She says she's become a work of art. Becky, no, you're not a work of art. You are a disgrace. If that. And that's putting it lightly. That's being generous. You are a disgrace, and you don't belong in a museum at all. Work of art? You ain't no fucking work of art. You know what's a work of art? What we got with Adam Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson on Wednesday. That's a work of art. That's a work of art. Becky says, I make you feel, because that's what good art does. You don't make us feel the way that good art should make us feel. You don't. You make us feel like we are going to vomit. You make us feel like we want to change the channel, because we do. You make us feel like we are losing brain cells on a weekly basis every single time you cut a promo, because your heel character fucking blows hippopotamus cock. She says, you're not going to accomplish the New Year's resolutions. She talked about Liv Morgan failing. Liv Morgan then came out, or as I like to call, Liv Loser. Morgan talked about Becky Lynch's jacket being ugly. I actually agree with her there. She said that she was thinking how close she came to winning the title. Only thing I never promised myself was to give it her all in the ring. And that's exactly what she did. She gave it her all, said Liv Morgan. Becky then said, there is one big time Bex, and it's not you. Bianca Belair came out, the shitty babyface, the terribly booked babyface that is Bianca Belair. She came out and she goes, Liv ain't buying your hype, Becky, and neither am I. I may have taken a little dewdrop detour, but now Bianca Belair is ready to get back for big time Bex. So Becky then told him to leave. Liv and Bianca attacked Becky. They sent her out of the ring. They then brawled, and then Becky gave Bianca, I believe it was, a manhandle slam, and then she stood tall in the end. Same shit over and over and over again. People who have been losing matches over and over and over again. People have been losing matches like Bianca. She hasn't really done anything of substance. Liv Morgan, she's lost twice now to Becky Lynch. The same shit over and over and over and over again. Same fucking feuds, same fucking people, same fucking matches. And ultimately, we're going to get the same fucking result. And that result is Becky Lynch walking out as the Raw Women's Champion, and Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan buried once again because she, as in Becky, she is the golden child of WWE's women's division as we speak. So at the end of the day, I don't fucking care. I'm not sure who fucking cares about this, but at the end of it all of this is going to result in the same shit. It's like fucking clockwork. It's like the sun rising in the east and setting in the west. You know what's going to happen. You know who's going to be involved. You know everything that is ultimately going to come out of this. And everything that's ultimately going to come out of this is none other than Becky Lynch retaining the title. That's it. That's it. I don't really know what else you want me to say. I don't really know what else you want me to do. I don't really know what else can be said. That's it. Same shit, different day. Day in and day out, week in and week out with WWE, nothing and absolutely nothing is interesting at all. Moving on, we had Rhea Ripley and Nikki Trash. Rhea Ripley and Nikki Trash, they took on Queen Zelina, and Carmella. This is for the women's tag team championships. This match lasted 60 seconds. So this match lasted 60 fucking seconds. 60 seconds with Queen Zelina rolling up Nikki Ash for the win. Rhea Ripley did not even get in the match. If that does not tell you what they think of Rhea Ripley, if that doesn't tell you what they think of Nikki Ash, if that doesn't tell you what they think of women's wrestling as a whole, I don't know what does. Complete fucking embarrassment. It's quite sad. It really is. It's quite fucking sad that this is ultimately what we are reduced to. Jade Cargill and Ruby Soho, terrible match, but at least they were actually given some time this past Wednesday. At least they were actually given some time, and at least AEW, even though Jade Cargill shouldn't be in that position, at least they're actually giving opportunities to more than just one woman. At least they're actually giving opportunities to women to actually showcase to us what they can do and showcase to us how they've come along and showcase to us what we are going to see in the future and how everything is going to progress. How are we supposed to see what's going to progress with the women's division on WWE if you don't give them more than 60 fucking seconds? Fucking terrible, I tell ya. Street Profits versus Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz. This match lasted 3 minutes. This match lasted 3 minutes, and Commander Aziz and Apollo Crews lost. Apollo Crews got pinned after Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins delivered the cash out. And that was that. That was that. So, then we move on to what was probably one of the only things on the show worth going back and watching. Damian Priest versus Dolph Ziggler, a United States Championship match in which if Damian Priest got counted out or disqualified, he would lose the championship. Something that, man, we haven't seen that before. Man, we haven't seen that at all. Man, this is some interesting concept that Bruce Pritchard came up with. Said nobody ever. It has become incredibly cheesy. It really has. It's become insanely fucking cheesy to watch Damian Priest talk about this split personality that he has. He calls the Hulk side of himself Damian. The nasty side of himself, he calls that Damian. And he calls the calm, cool, and collective side of himself Priest. It's so fucking cheesy. It is Vince McMahon right down to a fucking T. Why are you changing what Damian Priest should be? Why are you booking Damian Priest as if he is the second coming of Festus? So fucking stupid. Damian Priest doesn't even resemble what he was in NXT. He's not even cool anymore. It's becoming so corny. Just book him like a normal fucking babyface. You don't need to book him to a point where he's going to lose his fucking cool and get disqualified and counted out to a point where, oh my God, he's at risk of losing the championship. It's so fucking stupid. Now, the match itself was overbooked, but it was a very good match. Dolph Ziggler can work with anyone. So Ziggler, he had a big tornado DDT to Priest on the floor. He took over. Coming back from commercial, Priest mounted a comeback with a big elbow in the corner. Ziggler with a running knee for a 2. Daniel Bryan-esque knee. So, you can really tell the respect that Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler have for each other. So, Priest came back with a leaping roundhouse kick and a cliffhanger DDT, which looked very good. Robert Roode then slipped Priest up on the top behind the referee's back. Ziggler with a famouser. Priest just kicked out. Very nice near fall right there. I actually thought Ziggler was going to win the title there. Priest took out Roode with a chair on the floor. Priest got back in the ring, and Ziggler begged Priest to hit him, but Priest threw the chair at Roode. Priest was then the victim of a zigzag, but Ziggler did not get the 1-2-3. Priest kicked out. Great near fall right there. Priest then hit the Reckoning, and Priest retains the United States Championship, as he should. Overbooked, but a very good match. Let's get Damian Priest in there with Finn Balor. I think that would be a great fucking match. Priest and Balor, and then possibly a match with Austin Theory at WrestleMania. And then let's get Damian Priest moved up. Roman Reigns, he unifies the championships. Brand split ends. And if you're not going to do Walter, let's take the title off of Priest, give it to Austin Theory, and then give me Damian Priest versus none other than Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, with Damian Priest winning the WWE Championship. Simple. Vince McMahon and Austin Theory had a sit down. McMahon told Theory that he's going to be in the Rumble. I think Austin Theory is going to have a great performance in the Rumble. Miz and Maurice came out. Miz goes, "We stand before you outraged. Outraged by the outcome that happened at day 1. I am the first and only 2-time Grand Slam champion, making me an all-time great and a man who has surpassed his peers. I was going to lay Edge to rest until his wife showed up. Edge deserved to lose because of what he did to us last week, and on Saturday, it was Edge that hid behind his wife. What kind of a man does that? What kind of a man hides behind his wife, says The Miz. Beth Phoenix interfered at day one, says The Miz. Miz, Michael Mizanin, Beth Phoenix did not interfere in your match at day one. Did Beth Phoenix distract the referee? No. Did Beth Phoenix punch you in the face and strike you behind the referee's back? No. Did Beth Phoenix jump up on the apron and cause a scene like Maurice did? No. No. She walked out. She chased Maurice. She chased Maurice around the ringside area. You turned your back like a fucking idiot to stare at Beth Phoenix. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? Beth Phoenix? Beth Phoenix, what are you doing here? I'm going to look at you and I'm not going to look at Edge. That's setting up for the spear. You turned your back like a fucking idiot to look at Beth Phoenix. She didn't touch you. And then you turn back around and Edge hit a spear on you. Maurice was the one that got involved. Maurice was the one that struck Edge behind the referee's back. She's the one that got up on the apron to cause a scene. Beth didn't do a thing. You turned your back like the retard that you are, only for Edge to set up a spear, spear you, and beat you clean. You have no excuse. You lost clean. Now, if Beth Phoenix would have gotten up on the apron to cause a scene, or if she would have punched you behind the referee's back, then you maybe have an excuse, but you got no excuse. Beth didn't touch you. Who is writing these promos? Who? Who is writing the script for Miz to go out there and try and shill to the audience that he was robbed? Beth didn't touch him! WWE legitimately takes their audience for being idiots. I swear. It is just laughable. It's laughable. Beth didn't touch The Miz. But yet The Miz is saying that Beth interfered in the match. No, she didn't. Miz turned around and looked at Beth Phoenix when he should have been focusing on Edge. Whoever's writing these, oh my God, The Miz, you made The Miz sound so fucking stupid. So Maurice called The Miz strong and brave. She said that she would punch Beth in the face. Beth then came out to the ring, as did Edge. What is with Beth? I don't know. I don't know why. I really don't know why Beth Phoenix is dressing the way that she does. She legitimately looks like a crossover between the fucking Berserker and Sarah Logan. Why does she look like this? Why does she look like as if she should be managing the fucking Viking Raiders? I don't know what it is, but oh my God, Beth Phoenix does not look. She does not look good. Her hair is all messy. Her hair makes her look like Foghorn Leghorn. All we're missing is her doing a book narration on the Geico commercial. It was the best of times, and I said worst of times. And when I mean worst, I'm talking about my Aunt Ginny's corn pudding. What is with Beth Phoenix? Does she legitimately approve of herself to go out like that, looking like she should be managing the Viking Raiders as Foghorn Leghorn? So Edge came out with his wife. Edge said, I know you'd bitch and moan and make some excuse as to why I beat you. Do I need to illustrate here exactly what a hypocrite you are? So, ladies and gents, The Miz is at a loss for words. I'm crazy enough to give you what you want. The Miz and Maurice versus the Rated R Superstar and the Glamazon at the Royal Rumble. Miz goes, are you serious? Miz was hyping up his wife, and then The Miz accepts. Maurice then wasn't happy, and then Beth went for a punch, and Maurice fell down, and that was that. I said it firsthand to not even bother doing the mixed tag team match. What do? They do the mixed tag team match. They do the match. They do the mixed tag team match, and now we get Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Maurice and The Miz. Who cares? This is a complete waste of time. This is completely unnecessary. They're taking up a spot on the Royal Rumble card that could be used for a Damian Priest and a Finn Balor to actually make the show a little bit more interesting. But of course they didn't do that. Of course they didn't do that. And on top of that, now Maurice is mad at The Miz again. Didn't we just get through this a few weeks ago in which Maurice faked being mad at The Miz to set up Edge for an attack by The Miz? Maurice completely faked being mad at her husband. Now she's being mad at her husband again. So let me get this straight. You expect the audience to believe that Edge and Beth Phoenix believe that Maurice is actually mad at The Miz now after she faked being mad at The Miz a couple of weeks ago? I swear, am I losing my mind here? Am I losing my mind? Am I losing brain cells? I don't know what is going on here. It is so fucking complex, so fucking overly convoluted that I don't even know why I'm even bothering watching this. Who cares about this match? Who cares? AJ Styles and Omos. Styles got squashed. He got squashed in 5 minutes by Omos. But now you want us to take him seriously against Grayson Waller. What a fucking joke. I swear to God, if Omos wins the Royal Rumble, I swear to God, if Omos wins the Royal Rumble, I'm telling you, I may break my fucking blue snowball microphone. Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley, and Big E. Fatal 4-way. Winner faces Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. This was a great match. Probably the best thing on the night. Probably the only thing that I would say to go back and watch about the show. Outside of this, the show was completely meaningless. Lashley, he put himself through the barricade before Big E took over and he destroyed the announce table. Rollins and Owens powerbombed Big E through the announce table. So coming back from commercial, brawl spilled into the crowd. Big E put Owens through a table. Coming back from a second commercial, Owens then with a swanton bomb out of the stands, taking out all of the people in the crowd. Back in the ring, we had a swanton bomb by Owens in the ring on Big E, followed up by a frog splash by Seth Rollins. Big E kicked out. We had a double super kick to Big E, a pop-up power bomb. Lashley saved it. We had belly-to-bellies by Lashley, shoulder tackles to Owens, an elbow by Rollins, a spear to Big E, a spear to Rollins, and a spear to Kevin Owens, and Bobby Lashley wins a great match. And now we get Lesnar versus Lashley at the Rumble. I'm actually very excited to see this match. I think it's going to be a fantastic match. I think these two are really going to do well together, and I'd like to hope that we do get something of substance. I hope we get one of the best matches of the year if WWE allows them to go. I think this is going to be a great fucking match. Lesnar was then in the back, and he mentioned to tell Roman that he'll see him this Friday on SmackDown, and that was the way Monday Night Raw went off of the air. Outside of the Fatal 4-Way, it was fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible show was Monday Night Raw. Can't stand it, and I will continue to rant and rave about it until shit actually gets better. Let's check the chat. Lisa Marie says, MJF is greater than The Miz, and this is a fact. Damn right he is. Dee Dee says The Miz needs to go back to MTV. To be quite honest with you, I am wishing the same thing. I'm actually counting down the days until The Miz retires. Callan Corner, a.k.a. Jessie Callan. She is stopping by the channel. Be sure you hit that like button, Jessie. Thank you for stopping by the channel. I greatly appreciate you stopping by. We have plenty more to dissect. We got New Year's Evil. We got Dynamite, NXT UK, SmackDown, and Rampage. And we have a lot more to go over. We're probably going to go 3 hours anyway. Just be sure you hit that like button. Like it as many times as you can, and you share out the stream on all platforms of social media. I want to get a lot of people in here. But thank you for joining. I hope everyone is having a good time seeing me lose my voice and seeing me get all pissed off. I know. I'm entertaining, aren't I? I heard that Dee Dee's got KFC coming. Let me tell you something. I love KFC. I haven't had KFC in a while. I think that I'm going to go and get some KFC sooner rather than later. I think KFC would hit the spot quite nicely. Carmelo Hayes and Roderick Strong, they kicked off NXT New Year's Evil. Dee Dee wants me to say hi to her grandson. Hello, little DJ. Named after me. New Year's Evil. NXT New Year's Evil was actually a very good show. I'm going to go so far as to say that this was actually the best NXT 2.0 episode in its inception thus far. And that just goes to show you how well the roster is put together on NXT 2.0. At least the men's division. The women's division, I don't know what the fuck happened to the women's division. The women's division, it is fucking disgusting. And I mean fucking disgusting. But New Year's Evil was a very good show. The best NXT 2.0 episode that they've done. This is not going to become a reoccurring thing, so please don't get your hopes up. And I'm not going to be covering NXT consistently. I may cover it a couple more times. I might cover it next week because next week looks like a good show. We got Pete Dunne, Tony D'Angelo. We got Grayson Waller, AJ Styles. I do believe we have another match on the show. But NXT 2.0 was actually a very good show. It started off with Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong. This was a title unification match for the NXT Cruiserweight and the North American Championships. And this was an excellent start to the show. Both of these two worked very well together. Roderick Strong's always been great. Carmelo Hayes, absolutely a future piece to the company. He's going to be a solid U.S. champion, a solid Intercontinental champion. And if WWE wants to, when he gets called up to the main roster, if they want to build up Carmelo Hayes as this cocky prick-like guy that's he's going to brag about how good he is, and he's going to wear these sunglasses and the chains and the gold, and they're going to hype up Carmelo Hayes as being this fucking show-off. If they do that, then you know what? I got no issue with that. I think Carmelo Hayes has a lot of upside to him. I love what Carmelo Hayes is doing, and the fact that they pushed him in a scenario where he unified both titles, I think that this goes to show you that they really have a lot of investment in Carmelo Hayes. And I'm happy that they do because Carmelo Hayes is awesome. He's awesome. So Melo, with a nice back springboard leg drop, he took over. Strong came in with a high knee, or I think it was a Claymore kick, actually. A Claymore kick, turning Carmelo inside out. That got a 2. Strong with a big lariat. Strong with a backbreaker barrage. Hayes and him traded Boston Crabs. Strong with a big Olympic slam. Big Olympic slam for a 2. Hayes hit a super kick. Strong cut off Carmelo Hayes on the top rope, and he delivered an avalanche X-plex from the top, which looked fucking crazy. Awesome spot right there. Hayes got the cover. Strong kicked out. Hayes then with the diving axe kick off the top, and he wins the match 1-2-3. Unifies both championships. Thank God it's not the NXT North American Cruiserweight Championship. We still have the North American Championship, and the Cruiserweight Championship has been retired. It's probably the best thing to do because there's no Cruiserweight division. I thought the match was excellent. Carmelo Hayes and Roderick Strong, they work very well together. Carmelo Hayes, I can absolutely see as a future star. I'd absolutely love to see Carmelo Hayes in the mid-card on Monday Night Raw, fighting guys like Priest and Ziggler and Apollo Crews. I would love that. I think they could, and Matt Riddle too. I think he'd be great. Roderick Strong, however, unfortunately, I see Roderick Strong being released. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but Roderick Strong, they don't value Roderick Strong. All they see when they look at Roderick Strong is Triple H. I would not be surprised if Roderick Strong is released at some point between now and WrestleMania. I'm calling it. Roderick Strong's going to be released between now and WrestleMania. I am calling it right now. But other than that, the match was excellent. Right winner, too. Carmelo Hayes gets the win, and they have a lot of upside with Carmelo Hayes. They announced that the men's and the women's Dusty Classics will be beginning soon, and I'm actually very, very happy that they are, because I think those two tournaments are great. We got the Dusty Rhodes Classic for the men beginning in 2 weeks, and the women's are beginning in February. I would like to hope that they will be ending the tournaments at a special event. AJ Styles came out. He took the microphone. The crowd chanted AJ Styles. He talked about how he wasn't in NXT and his debut was at the Royal Rumble. He said in certain interviews that he wishes he could have been in NXT, but he wasn't. He said that there is something special about NXT. It's passion. Passion makes NXT go round. And I'll be damned if I'm going to let someone take that passion away. And I'm talking about Grayson Waller. Listen, AJ, NXT 2.0 blows dick. NXT 2.0, while it was a very good show, don't get me wrong, NXT 2.0 is absolute dog shit. When you watch the Discovery Channel and you see an elephant take a shit right in the middle of Africa, and you look at that steaming pile of elephant shit, that is NXT 2.0. NXT 2.0 is equivalent to elephant shit, and that's only because of who's running it. But he said that Grayson Waller, he's trying to take the passion away. Grayson Waller then came out being booed. I actually love that. I love the heat that Grayson Waller is getting. Grayson Waller knows how to be a dick. He goes, you tagged at the heartstrings, or you tugged at the heartstrings. It's beautiful. But it's a phenomenal deflection from the fact that last night you lost to Omos. I saw it. You lost because you were thinking about Grayson Waller, and I'm living in your head rent-free. Styles then challenged Waller to a match. Waller said, we can do this next week in the main event of NXT. Styles then attacked Waller. Waller then took advantage. Styles hit a Pele kick, and he ended up standing tall. Grayson Waller got out of dodge before Styles could hit the phenomenal forearm. Pretty decent segment right here, but I just can't help but think that Styles is being mistreated. He's being mistreated. He's being underutilized. He's being placed in a position in which we know he shouldn't be placed in. If you're going to use AJ to get someone over, at least put him on Raw to help him get a Damian Priest over. Have him get Damian Priest over. Priest needs someone to solidify his United States title reign. Priest hasn't had a decent challenger. He hasn't had a credible challenger, at least, since Sheamus. Give Priest something. Give him something to do. Put him against Styles. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discredit Grayson Waller. Grayson Waller is playing his role beautifully as the cocky, pretty boy prick. He's playing his role beautifully as the pretty boy prick that just lives on social media and makes fun of everybody. So I got no problem with how he is conducting himself. He's conducting himself very well. The social media pretty boy dickhead that is just soaking in all the heat because he knows he's hot stuff. I got no issue with Grayson Waller. He's very good in the ring, and he can carry himself pretty decently on the microphone thus far. I got no issue with that. And the crowd is booing him. The crowd is giving him legit heat. But Styles deserves better. Styles deserves better than putting over Grayson Waller, going down to NXT just because they're trying to pop a rating. Because NXT 2.0 ain't drawing shit. They didn't even peak 700,000 viewers for New Year's Evil. And that was hyped up like a takeover. I'll tell you what was takeover worthy. It was fantastic. Imperium versus Matt Riddle and MSK. Walter, he should absolutely be the guy to take the title off of Roman Reigns, if not Damian Priest. Walter's great. Excuse me. But this match was fantastic. This was a takeover-worthy match, and it will probably go down as the best match in all of NXT for the month. Maybe of the year, who knows? So Walter came in with Matt Riddle. They had a nice back and forth. Riddle then took out all of the baby faces. Or excuse me, Walter. Yeah, did I say Riddle or Walter? I meant to say Walter. Walter took out all of the baby faces, and Imperium was in complete control. Coming back from commercial, we had Nash Carter tagging in Riddle. He lit up Walter with a big exploder suplex. Really nice stuff right here. We had a Broton, and then Riddle hit. Riddle was going for the draping DDT on Imperium before Walter stopped him. We had Riddle getting loose, a PK to Walter, and then we had triple planches by Riddle and MSK on Imperium. Really good stuff right there. We had a German suplex to Walter. Riddle was able to get him up for a 2. MSK got taken out. Walter with a power bomb. Riddle kicked out. We had a brainbuster by Eichner before Nash Carter saved it. Riddle fought back. Walter got taken out. We had a blockbuster heart attack combo into the floating bro. And then we had a big RKO to Marcel Bartel, I believe it was. Big RKO to a big pop, and MSK and Matt Riddle get the win. Fantastic match. Match of the night, hands down. Go back and watch this match. It was fucking fantastic. Awesome, awesome, awesome match. Santos Escobar versus Zion Quinn. That's going to take place next week. And the winner is going to leave with Elektra Lopez. Who cares about this love storyline between Elektra Lopez and Zion Quinn? I certainly don't. Women's match. Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez and Mandy Rose. This was a triple threat match. A triple threat match for the NXT Women's Championship. Listen, I've seen much worse. Than this match, but holy shit, if you're going to compare this match to the NXT women's matches of old, Rhea Ripley, Shayna Baszler, we had Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, and Asuka and Ember Moon, Bayley and Sasha Banks. You compare this match to all of those matches, and holy shit, this match is a fucking embarrassment. And it's not even Raquel Gonzalez. Raquel Gonzalez, she's not bad. Raquel Gonzalez isn't terrible. Raquel Gonzalez has actually grown a lot. Raquel Gonzalez realistically should be on the main roster. She could add a lot to the main roster. Mandy Rose, she's not bad in the ring. She's improving herself. It's all Cora Jade. Cora Jade made this match worse than it actually was. And that's because of the fact that Cora Jade is inexperienced. She's not ready to be in a prime spot like that. She's like Jade Cargill. She's not ready to be a champion, and she shouldn't be in a primetime championship position. She's not ready. I don't know why they're pushing her. Actually, you know what? I do know why they're pushing her. They're pushing her because of the simple fact that they want youth. They don't want any woman under 25 years old. And on top of that, they're training her to wrestle as if she was a fucking diva. She's wrestling as if she was a diva, and she did not look good at all. Her offense is very weak. Her offense is very, 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 it's very, very slow. She's too slow in the ring. She's too slow. She's not impactful. She's very inexperienced to a point where she should be working her way up the rankings, and she should be in the PC training more. It's all Cora Jade. The only reason why they're pushing her is because of her age. Because no one can be under 25. I'd be surprised if Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are still with the company. And the only reason why they're pushing Mandy Rose is because she looks like a Victoria's Secret supermodel. She's not bad. I actually enjoy Mandy Rose wrestling. But she's not being pushed as a top priority. And this match was not very good at all. Very weak compared to the classic NXT women's matches, and the women's division has really taken a hit. It's all Cora Jade here. Cora Jade is not ready. Cora Jade is not ready. Cora Jade tried to take over. Mandy stopped her in her tracks. Cora Jade hit a cannonball off the apron. Rose then sent Jade into the steps. Raquel had both women on her shoulders with a double Samoan drop, which did not look very good. Jade tried to take over. Rose put her down. Raquel Gonzalez was taken over by Jade. We had an assisted Hurricane Rana by Jade. A knee to the face, which looked weak as shit. We had a backbreaker by Raquel. Raquel then took Cora out. Raquel then called for Rose to get back into the ring. She took Rose into the ring. Raquel was caught with a code breaker by Mandy Rose for a 2. We had a Chincona bomb, but the pin was broken up with Cora Jade delivering a senton. Raquel was then pissed. Jade then sent Raquel Gonzalez out of the ring. Jade went for the cover on Rose, but Mandy Rose rolled up Cora Jade, quick roll up, and she retained the championship. I've certainly seen much worse. Matter of fact, I prefer this match over the Ruby Soho Jade Cargill match, but holy shit. Holy shit. You compare this to the classic NXT matches of the women, this was awful. Terrible. We had a segment with Andre Chase. I don't know who is popping for Andre Chase, but holy shit, Andre Chase. You release Keith Lee, but you fucking keep Andre Chase and what you're doing with this fucking idiot named Andre Chase. He said that last week was indeed a teachable moment. He thanked one of his students for saving him. He says that he's going to give this student a full scholarship to Andre Chase U. All of a sudden, Von Wagner came out and he talked about how everyone wanted to see what he's going to do next. I'm everything that you are not, said Von Wagner. And he also said that he only needs to be liked by the people that matter. I mean, no shit there, Mr. Von Wagner. I mean, you're being pushed on our television screen, and we still do not know why. But I'll tell you what, I don't think I've ever been more happy to see Von Wagner because I cannot fucking stand Andre Chase. For one moment and one moment only, Von Wagner became my favorite WWE superstar. So he took out Andre Chase and he took out a couple of crowd members. Obvious plants. Don't really know where they're going with it, but it is what it is there. I'm not a fan of Von Wagner doing what he's doing, but I will support anyone who takes down Andre Chase because Andre Chase is a fucking joke and he makes the show worse. Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker in the main event for the NXT Championship. Braun Breaker, he destroyed a black and gold logo on the Minitron as well as a black and gold X. I mean, if you wanted to see how blatant they've gotten by telling you that Triple H's NXT was nothing to them, I mean, look no further than this. There were even people saying backstage that they saw Braun Breaker's entrance in poor fucking taste, but yet some people think that Shawn Michaels is in charge. I just did a whole rant at the beginning of the fucking show related to how bad this edict has gotten, erasing everything that Triple H created. But you want to come to me and you want to fucking claim that this was approved by Shawn Michaels? Get out of here. Get out of the fucking community. You don't need your fucking stupidity in the community. Pathetic. Pathetic, blatant, and disgusting. Disgusting fucking entrance. But I will tell you what. The match with Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa was great. I will say that. The match itself was great. So, Ciampa made his usual entrance. Nothing too crazy about Tommaso Ciampa. I will say this. They did give the NXT Championship to the correct man. They gave the NXT Championship to the correct man. Braun Breaker, he is improved at lightning speed. Braun Breaker has improved at lightning speed. You take a look at Braun Breaker back at that first match with Ciampa at Halloween Havoc versus this match with Ciampa. Two different Braun Breakers. This was a coming out party, I would say, for Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker is very good at what he does. He is. I'm not going to discredit Braun Breaker. I just can't support the fact that they did this deliberately to kill everything that Triple H created with NXT. The old NXT. The real NXT. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that this was a bad match, though. It was not a bad match. It was a great match, actually. Braun Breaker's best match to date. And Braun Breaker has improved leaps and bounds. He really has. And he's only going to get better. He's not going to fail. I just cannot fucking support the deliberate motive to kill everything that Triple H did. Some people are even saying that Triple H and his heart condition was a direct effect of what Vince McMahon did. Would not be surprised. The match itself, though, was great. So, Ciampa and Breaker went back and forth early on. We had a big corkscrew plancha over the top by Tommaso Ciampa. Breaker mounted a comeback with a big stinger splash and a mid-air twisting slam by Breaker. Ciampa then was caught with a spine buster, and Braun Breaker delivered a beautiful standing moonsault on Ciampa for a 2 count. You know what it honestly reminded me of? It reminded me of Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is not a small guy. He's not. Apollo Crews is not a small guy at all. Apollo Crews is a big, muscly dude. He's like 230 pounds, 235 pounds. He's got muscle on him, but I don't think I've ever seen Apollo Crews botch a standing moonsault or a shooting star press. Braun Breaker, it looked beautiful, this standing moonsault. Beautiful stuff by Breaker. So, afterwards, Ciampa came back with a couple of running knees. Breaker with a spear. Both men are down. They slugged it out. Breaker delivered a Frankensteiner to Ciampa into the corner for a 2. Ciampa reversed the military press slam into a widow's bell. Breaker kicked out. Ciampa then locked in a single leg crab on Braun Breaker. Single leg crab, but Breaker got to the ropes. Ciampa then took apart the padding, similar to what happened at Halloween Havoc. Braun Breaker picked Ciampa up and delivered a beautiful Alabama slam through the announce table, and the table completely fucking shattered. Ciampa then was on the receiving end of a military press power slam, but he got his foot on the bottom rope. Ciampa then, he flung the rope into Braun Breaker's groin. Ciampa then delivered exposed knees to Braun Breaker. He hit the fairy tale ending, but Braun Breaker kicked out. Ciampa then took Breaker up to the top. Breaker shoved Ciampa off, and he delivered a beautiful diving bulldog off the middle rope. He pulled down the straps, locked in a Steiner recliner, which I didn't mind seeing, but he locked in a Steiner recliner in tribute to his father, Rick Steiner, and his nephew, Scott Steiner. Locked in the Steiner recliner, and Ciampa taps out. And Braun Breaker taps out Ciampa to win the NXT Championship in a great main event. I mean, again, if you wanted blatant, he fucking tapped out Tommaso Ciampa. They couldn't even bother to actually book Ciampa good in defeat and have him just pass out. What does that tell you? The death of NXT Black and Gold. And anyone that tries to tell me otherwise, you are a fucking idiot. It's quite sad. It really is quite sad. Really is quite sad. But the show itself was very good. Absolutely the second best show of the week. I'm calling it the second best show of the week. That was NXT New Year's Evil. Very good show. I hope that everyone is having a great time. Thank you, Courtney Holland. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to Jesse Callan, too. Dee Dee, everyone loves you. Don't go lurking on us now. We got 10 people watching. We got a nice hefty crowd. If we can get some more people in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. We got Earl Cole. Earl Cole decided to come back to the chat. Thank you, Earl Cole. And Earl, we're actually talking about Dynamite. We're actually talking about Dynamite next, which was a very good show as well. A lot of good stuff happened on Dynamite. Dynamite had their debut episode on TBS, and guess what happened? We got a 1 million plus rating with an 0.43 in the 18 to 49 demographic for Dynamite. So congratulations to Tony Khan and Dynamite. They kicked ass once again. Good stuff. Good stuff. Dynamite was a very good show. We kicked off the show with Adam Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Championship. I had a feeling that this was going to happen, and I did not mind that it happened. I did not mind that this happened because I think that this right here actually made everyone think a bit. Oh, could it go 60 minutes? Could it not go 60 minutes? It didn't end up going 60 minutes. And ultimately, this rounded out an excellent feud between Bryan Danielson and Adam Page, and it really drove the flag into the ground. And really let everyone know that Adam Hangman Page is here to stay, and he's a made man. Adam Page is a star. So, Page took over quickly with a big suicide dive and a powerbomb on the apron to Bryan. Page then sent himself into the barricade accidentally. His arm crashed and burned. His arm was the focal point of Bryan Danielson. We had a big fallaway slam and a springboard clothesline, a plancha by Adam Page. Page caught Bryan mid-suicide dive into a big capture suplex. On the floor. Big capture suplex on the floor. Bryan then sent Page face first into the steps, and Page was busted open. Bryan then sent Page into the ring post and the barricade. Page came back with a German suplex on Bryan for a 2. They both dropped to the floor. Page then sent Bryan into the post. Bryan went up to the top, and Page cut him off. An avalanche moonsault slam. Both men were bloodied and busted open. It was an absolute bloodbath. Bryan with a cradle for a 2. Bryan then with a label lock. Page got out of it. We had a big moonsault by Page to the floor. Back into the ring. He went for the buckshot lariat. Bryan ducked it. Bryan hit the Busaiku knee. And Bryan just barely got to the cover. Page kicked out. I thought that was it. So right then and there, this was incredible. I thought that was it. Page kicked out. They traded strikes back and forth. Bryan with a Gotch-style pile driver for 2. Bryan went for the knee. Page with a pop-up powerbomb. Bryan then got Page locked in the triangle. He transitioned into the heel hook. Page fought out of it. He hit a backdrop driver, hit the buckshot lariat. Bryan was turned inside out. 1, 2, 3. Page retains the AEW World Championship in an incredible match. Fantastic stuff. I don't think anything's going to top this match. Awesome fucking match. Paige wins. And Paige is moving on to bigger and better things. Paige with an excellent fucking feud with Bryan Danielson. Awesome stuff. Bryan Danielson was the perfect opponent to help Adam Page get over. Awesome material. MJF versus Shawn Dean. This match actually never took place because CM Punk came running out to the ring. MJF ran off. Punk delivered the GTS on Shawn Dean, and the ref called for a DQ. Now, normally I would shit on this, but this was actually an excellent use of the DQ. The first DQ in 140 episodes of AEW. I didn't mind this because of what we got afterwards. MJF was absolutely pissed. Punk then took the mic, and he goes, "This is your future until you step into the ring with me, you little bitch," said CM Punk. MJF said, "Everything that comes out of your mouth is fake and produces boredom." So, Vince McMahon, you're trying to compare CM Punk to Vince McMahon? No. Lisa, I'm sorry. MJF lost. Shawn Dean's undefeated. MJF is not. But anyway. I know this pisses off Lisa. I love to piss Lisa off. MJF said, you can come out and you said you're focusing on becoming the world champion, yet here you are. Deep down, you know that without me, you're nothing, and I make you relevant. And it's funny that you came out and claimed that I'm a waste of money when you're not the savior that these people wanted, but you know who is? Maxwell Jacob Friedman, said MJF. MJF then came back with this one line. You really think that you're on the level of Roddy Piper? Because the last time I checked, Piper was actually talented enough to main event a WrestleMania. So right then and there, the crowd popped. Punk was laughing. I know for a fact that MJF's going to mention his wife at some point. He's going to have to. Punk was laughing and he goes, look, I'm just trying to kick your ass. So why don't you come on in here? He actually, and before Punk said that, MJF actually said, if I'm not shown the proper respect around here, maybe I'll main event a WrestleMania 2. Punk said, you know what? If you really think that the grass is so greener on the other side, go ahead, leave. Main event night 4 of a buy one, get one free extravaganza. Get released quicker than you could last in the sack, and I'll still be here waiting for you to kick your ass. MJF goes, you want the match? You know what? Next week it's going to be CM Punk versus Wardlow. And Punk goes, you know, the difference between me and Piper and a worm like you is Piper and I would fight anyone. Bring Wardlow, but sooner or later you're going to run out of people to hide behind, and I'm going to put you to sleep. Excellent. Fantastic fucking segment. I have no complaints about this. Normally I would absolutely shit on the DQ finish, but you know what? I can't really shit on it after a promo like that. This was fucking excellent. Awesome stuff right here, I'm telling you. Chris Jericho came out. He came out to speak. Afterwards, the crowd was singing Judas. He goes, I haven't been on TBS since April of 1999. Since I was on WCW Thunder losing to Booker T. He goes, it's great to be back after those 2.0 jack-offs hit me in the face with a chair. I came out to get revenge on 2.0, not save Eddie Kingston, said Chris Jericho. 2.0 then came out. He goes, welcome back, Chris, said Matt Lee. He bragged about hitting Jericho with a chair. Jericho then called Matt Lee a squarehead, and then he called Jeff Parker a pinhead. Jericho then grabbed Floyd the Bat. Daniel Garcia came in, proud and powerful, and Eddie Kingston came out to save Jericho, and that was pretty much that. And that was the hype up to the 6-man tag team Falls Count Anywhere no rules match that was going to take place on Rampage. Really nothing special. Wardlow versus Antonio Zambrano. Spears hit a C4 to Antonio on the floor. He just wanted Wardlow to pin him. But Wardlow, he delivered the Powerbomb Symphony. And he ended up winning the match. And I'm guessing that the reason why they are doing this is because Shawn Spears doesn't want Wardlow to gain all of this traction, because Wardlow is going to let this traction go to his head and he's not going to answer to MJF anymore. He doesn't want Wardlow to outshine MJF. That's pretty much what this all is revolving around. And it ultimately will result in Wardlow, he's going to split from MJF. And we're going to get the Wardlow MJF match. I'm not going to have a problem with that. Not at all. Ruby Soho versus Jade Cargill. This is for the TBS Championship. This was the finals. So, Ruby was in control early on with a shotgun dropkick off the apron. Cargill tried to take over with a diving axe handle. Ruby was holding her shoulder. Mercedes Martinez came out. She tried to get involved, but unfortunately for her, Thunder Rosa came out and she attacked Mercedes Martinez. Coming back from commercial, Jade worked on the shoulder of Ruby. Ruby with a super kick barrage, an enziguri, and an STO for a 2. Jade with the shoulder breaker and a punt kick for a 2. We had a Saito suplex by Ruby for a 2. Mark Sterling got involved. The ref ejected him. Ruby hit the no future, but Jade kicked out. Jade then hit Jaded from the top. Or excuse me, not from the top, from the middle rope, which didn't look very good. And Jade Cargill is the TBS Women's Champion. Listen. I'm an advocate for Jade Cargill. I love Ruby Soho. And I thought the TBS Championship tournament was actually done very well. But I'm sorry. Jade Cargill's not ready. She's not. She's not ready. I don't care what anyone has to say. You could be a fan of Jade Cargill all you want, but she's not ready. Now, some people were reporting that Jade Cargill was scheduled to win this tournament from the get-go. That's not a good decision. I'm sorry. I can think of multiple people besides Ruby Soho that could have been the first TBS Women's Champion. You could have given it to Shida. You could have given it to Nyla Rose. You could have given it to Serena Deeb. You could have given it to Ty Conti. You could have given it to someone along the lines of that. Even Jamie Hayter, I wouldn't have minded. But at the end of the day, I mean, come on. At the end of the day, Jade Cargill, she's going to come along. She's not overly terrible in the ring. I'm not going to be one of these people that is just going to say, oh, Jade is horrible. She's not overly terrible in the ring, but you can clearly see that she works too slow. Jade, I'm a fan of Jade. She's adequate enough to get by in a decent undercard match, and on top of that, she's going to get better. Cody Rhodes, Dustin Rhodes, they're training her. Jade Cargill is going to get better, but she was not ready. 1 year does not classify you as ready. I understand if you're high on Jade Cargill. I am too. There's nothing wrong with that. And I have no problem that Tony Khan had a long-term plan from the get-go in this tournament. I actually respect him for having that long-term plan in the works. But that doesn't mean that Jade Cargill was the right woman. This is your version of the TNT Championship. This is going to be the workhorse championship for the women. Jade Cargill is not the workhorse champion. And if listen, I will give an analogy. Look at Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker, from the first match with Ciampa to the second match with Ciampa, 2 different Braun Breakers. Braun Breaker, as I said in the stream already, he improved at lightning speed. And that's great. That's great for Braun Breaker. If Jade Cargill was in that position, I would say, by all means, give her the championship. But she's not ready. And with all the new women coming in, with Toni Storm coming in, Nixon Newell, Athena, possibly a Taya Valkyrie, Ruby Soho's still up there, Chris Statlander's working her way up the rankings as well. If all of these women are surpassing Jade Cargill, then after Jade Cargill loses the championship, she's going to fall a long ways down the ladder. I want her to succeed, and she's not overly terrible. I've seen worse than Jade Cargill. She's not the Nia Jax of AEW. She hasn't injured anybody. So I'm not going to say, oh yeah, Ruby Soho's injured now, and now Jade Cargill, she's a botch machine. No, I'm not going to say that. Jade Cargill, she just works too slow. Her timing isn't there. She's very stiff in the ring. She's not loose enough, if you know what I'm saying. Jade Cargill is just not loose enough. I understand if you're high on her. That's fine. That's fine. She hasn't been overexposed, which is good. She hasn't been overexposed. She hasn't been on Dynamite every week, which is fine. But at the end of the day, she's not ready for this position. I don't give a shit whether you're a fan of her or not. Ruby Soho should have won this match. Ruby Soho should have won this match. Now, who knows? Maybe they could be building up Ruby Soho as the underdog babyface to chase the heel. I get that. I understand. I have no issue with that. That's a nice story. Maybe we see Ruby win the title from Jade Cargill, probably either at the special in April or maybe at Double or Nothing in May. But after that, where does Jade Cargill go from there? There's only one way to go. That's down. If she does not pick up the pace and she doesn't improve quickly, by the time she's ready, a lot of women would have already surpassed her. She's going to have to spend some time, and I hope to God, I pray for the best for the TBS Championship, and I hope to God that Tony Khan is going to make the best out of a bad booking decision. But I'm sorry, this match was not very good. This was the weakest match of the night and had the wrong winner. I got no issue with Jade. Jade is going to succeed. But after this title reign, she is really going to fall down the ladder. If Jade Cargill was in the same position as Braun Breaker, I would say by all means give her the championship. But she wasn't. She's improving, but not quick enough. She was not ready. Tony Khan should not have pulled the trigger on Jade Cargill. I'm sorry. Too early. Way too soon. And after Jade loses the championship, ultimately it's going to fall. It's going to fall into the hands of someone that's more talented than Jade at the moment, and Jade's going to fall down the ladder. I pray for the best, but weakest match of the night and wrong winner. I'm sorry. Ruby Soho should have won this match. Malachi Black versus Brian Pillman Jr. Pretty standard match right here. They are teasing the House of Black. Brody King is going to show up at some point. Pillman came back with a very nice wrecking ball drop kick to Malachi Black. Black with a nice roundhouse kick to take over. Pillman mounted a comeback, a big chop in the corner. Black took over. Brian Pillman could not do the springboard because his knee was bothering him. Black hit the Sin Eater, and Black got the 1-2-3. Penta, El Cero Miedo, and Rey Fenix came out to get in Black's face. The lights went out. Lights came back on. Black was on the ramp while the Lucha Bros were inside the ring. Obviously, they're playing up that storyline with Pac and Malachi Black. I'm not sure when we get Brody King, but whenever we do, I think it's going to be great because I think Brody King's fantastic. Adam Cole versus Jake Atlas was set for Rampage, as well as Hook versus Aaron Solo, as well as Ruby Soho and Riho versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter. Next week, we got Punk versus Wardlow. We got Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb Part 4. And we also got Powerhouse Hobbs and Dante Martin, which I can't wait for. I think that match is going to be very good. Main event. The correct match to main event the show. I was worried that they were going to have the TBS Championship Tournament Finals main event the show, but they didn't. It was Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Bros. This was for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Pretty standard back and forth between the two teams. The crowd appreciated it. Things really picked up the pace. We had a nice German suplex by Luchasaurus for a 2. We had a double Hurricane Rana by JB. Phoenix came back with a big tightrope punt kick. Coming back from commercial, Jungle Boy with a big lariat turning Rey Fenix inside out. Luchasaurus got the tag. He lit up the Lucha Bros. We had double planches in the corner. Super kicks by the Lucha Bros and a double team splash. Jungle Boy came in. He leaped off of Luchasaurus onto Phoenix and hit a destroyer on Phoenix. Looked fucking crazy. Luchasaurus dropped Penta with a Death Valley driver. Penta kicked out. Penta with a super kick to Jungle Boy. Phoenix hit a destroyer on Luchasaurus. Another crazy fucking spot. Penta hit Made in Japan on Jungle Boy, but Jungle Boy kicked out. The lights went out, and then the lights went back on. I thought that we were going to see Brody King. The Lucha Bros looked very confused. We had a spin kick by Rey Fenix, taking out the Lucha Bros. A spin kick by Rey Fenix taking out Luchasaurus. Unfortunately, we had a big plancha. Penta with a pile driver on the apron. We had the Fear Factor, but Jungle Boy kicked out. Alex Abrahantes set up a table. They set up a table, and Christian Cage then chased Alex Abrahantes off. Luchasaurus hit a choke slam to Phoenix off of the apron through the table, and I swear to God, Phoenix's arm was bent in ways that a human arm should not bend. It legitimately reminded me of when Psycho Sid jumped off the top rope at WCW, and he broke his left leg, and his left leg was just hanging there. His arm was backwards. I don't even want to think about it. His arm was legitimately like this, hanging off. It was backwards. His arm was fucking backwards. And thank God he did not suffer any broken bones. He just suffered a badly dislocated arm. He should be back in a few weeks. Prayers go out to Rey Fenix. He'll be back in a month. His arm was backwards. It did not look good. The spot didn't need to happen, but unfortunately, this is pro wrestling. This is not ballet. But at the end of the day, I'm glad he's okay. Now, they called an audible here. Penta went for Made in Japan. Jungle Boy reversed it, and Jungle Boy rolled up Penta to win the titles. The match was very good. The spot at the end, oh my God, Phoenix's arm, that did not look good. I'm happy that Phoenix is okay, though. That looked absolutely brutal. That looked fucking brutal. You know what I love? I absolutely love how when AEW calls an audible, I love how they create new stars. They created new stars. They had to call an audible. The Lucha Bros, they were set to retain. I have a feeling. They were set to retain, but they didn't because of the simple fact that Rey Fenix got hurt. They called an audible. They gave the titles to two beloved individuals in Jurassic Express and created two new stars in Jurassic Express. Isn't it so funny? It is so funny how AEW, when they call an audible, they create two new stars. But yet, when WWE calls an audible, they do the same shit over and over again with the same people, as they gave Brock Lesnar the WWE title. Glad that Rey Fenix is okay. He's going to come back stronger than ever. He should be back sooner rather than later. He's not going to be back for the whole. He's not going to be out for the whole year. I think he'll be just fine. Jurassic Express win the titles. I have a feeling that Tony Khan had them in the plans to win the titles, but it was just too early. It was too early for them, but they had to give them the titles because if they didn't, then the Lucha Bros would have been out. And they had the tag teams go out, and obviously showing everyone that the tag team division is still the best it's ever been and all that other good stuff. We'll see what happens. But the show overall was very good. Capped off with a great main event and a great world title match as well. That was AEW. Hope everyone is doing well. We got 3 more shows to go over, and then we can get on out of here. I appreciate everyone hanging with me for so long. I didn't think I was really going to go this long, but hey, we're going this long anyway. We're going to go 3 hours plus. Who cares? It's Saturday. It's Saturday. Thank you very much for stopping by. I greatly appreciate all of you, Rob and Lisa and Earl Cole and Dee Dee and Adam Carl and everyone that stopped by. David Maniscalco and Peanuts. You guys have been fantastic. I believe we're almost at 20 likes. Let me double check. I believe we are almost at 20 likes. We are at 16 likes. So if everyone could share the stream out, get some more people in here, we need 4 more likes to get to 20. It is vital. 4 more likes to get to 20. NXT UK. Let's talk about NXT UK. NXT UK was actually a pretty solid show. I didn't mind NXT UK. The main event was a little disappointing, the main event. Well, we'll talk about the main event, but main event was okay, a little disappointing, but the show overall was pretty solid. Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter, they took on Symbiosis. This was a little mini tournament. This was a little mini tournament for the number 1 contender spot to see who's going to face Mustache Mountain. And this was a pretty solid match right here to kick off the show. The babyfaces were in control before the heels took over. T-Bone hit a big splash from the top, but unfortunately that only got a 2 count for Symbiosis. Smith eventually got the tag. Carter picked up the pace. We had a rock bottom to Primate and a big springboard moonsault for a 2. Symbiosis, they were kept at bay. We had a suicide dive to T-Bone, and then we had an electric chair cutter combination by Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter. They get the victory, and they are going on to the finals. They are going on to the finals, and I think it should be a pretty solid victory for Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter if they were to win, and then we do inevitably get them being Mustache Mountain's first challengers. I think that would be a great start to Mustache Mountain's title reign. We had an awesome promo package hyping up Ilya Dragunov, talking about his family, his wife, and his son Constantine. I think that this right here, this is only going to make the match with Jordan Devlin that much better. We had Myla Grace versus Xia Brookside. Xia Brookside won with the Broken Wings backstabber. Not really sure what they're doing with Xia Brookside. Her heel run hasn't really been all that impressive. Matter of fact, it's just making her come off like a spoiled brat. That character is just fucking outdated. I'm sorry. That character's fucking outdated. But Xia Brookside got the win. Next week is Walter's Last Stand. Walter's last match in NXT UK before we inevitably get Walter going over to NXT 2.0 full-time. I hope to God that he gets called up to the main roster and he wins the Rumble. If he's not going to win the Royal Rumble, don't even bother calling him up. But he's taking on Nathan Fraser next week. I would absolutely love to see Nathan Fraser beat Walter and get a shot at Ilya Dragunov. I think that would be a great match. The main event. Pretty short episode of NXT UK. Main event was Blair Davenport versus Meiko Satomura. This was for the NXT Women's Championship. This match was good. It was good. Could have been better. I think that they should have given him a little bit more time, but it was good for what it was. I expected a little bit more, but it was fairly good. I'm guessing that they're going to do another match between these two, and Blair Davenport's going to win the title then. Meiko tried to keep Davenport at bay. Blair Davenport took over. Satomura with a vicious German suplex. Then she locked in the STF. Blair Davenport ended up getting out. Blair then with a STF of her own. Blair then came back with a B trigger, aka a V trigger that Kenny Omega does, but she calls it the B trigger because her name starts with a B. Then we had a double stomp to the back. Meiko was on the apron. Blair Davenport with a leaping double stomp to the back of Meiko on the apron. Really good stuff right there. Meiko kicked out. Meiko with 2 Death Valley drivers to Blair Davenport. Davenport kicked out. Meiko then rolled up Blair Davenport in a tight jackknife cover to retain. So Mako retains just by the skin of her teeth. Afterwards, Blair Davenport attacked Mako, and she held up the title, and she pretty much implied that this is not over. This isn't over. So I'm not all that mad, but I am kind of questioning why exactly did you have Blair Davenport lose clean? She lost clean here. This wasn't some type of scenario where things got a little out of control and maybe Blair Davenport hit her head on the exposed turnbuckle. This isn't anything like that. She lost clean. How are you going to justify her getting another title match? It almost seems as though, it really does. It almost seems as though that NXT UK, it's becoming more like the main roster. And I don't like that. I don't like that at all. The episode was okay. I've seen better, I've seen worse. Hopefully we actually get a little bit better, little bit better shows as we go forward into the new year. This was an okay episode. I've seen worse. SmackDown. Very, very odd edition of SmackDown. A very up and down edition of SmackDown. Realistically, I wouldn't even say to go back and rewatch it. Even the main event didn't live up to the hype. Which was quite sad. But that's what happens when you see the same people in the same positions over and over again. But very, very, very lukewarm edition of SmackDown. Not very good at all. Not good at all. Roman Reigns kicked off the show. He goes, when you're in isolation and you think there's a lot of people, that you want to see, but there's two people that I never want to see again, and they're Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Lesnar and Heyman then came out. Heyman did his usual shtick, but Brock Lesnar took the microphone himself. He goes, allow me to introduce myself. Lesnar then did Heyman's shtick. The reigning, defending WWE Heavyweight Champion of the world, Brock Lesnar. And then he goes, Roman Reigns, acknowledge me. So he goes, last Saturday, I got what I wanted, and you got what you wanted. Why don't we give everyone what they want? Title versus title, champ versus champ. Roman goes, it's a good idea, but it's not my idea. So he goes, this is my show. We do what I say on my time. I don't do business with people that do business with trash like Paul Heyman. So Paul Heyman goes, I protected you. You were my tribal chief and I freaking loved you. Lesnar then told Heyman to shut up. Roman goes, hey, don't talk to him that way. Roman was then told by Lesnar to shut up. Lesnar then goes, or what? Roman then hit a Superman punch on Lesnar while Paul Heyman distracted Lesnar, and then he left. I still have it in my mind that this is all nothing more than an elaborate plan. This is nothing but an elaborate plan by Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns to screw over Brock Lesnar when the time is right. But listen, they teased the title for title match. It should happen. I don't want to hear any excuses from anyone. The title for title match must happen. It must happen. Roman should win, and Roman needs to unify the titles. If this does not result in Roman Reigns unifying the titles with the brand split ending, all of this is a waste of time. I said it at the beginning of the stream when we talked about the rumor of Lesnar and Roman not being a unification match. I'll say it again here. Title for title, unification, Roman wins, brand split ends, or bust. That's it. Sami Zayn versus Rick Boogs. Sami actually had a face-off with fucking Johnny Knoxville before the match. Boogs was in control for the majority of the match. Sami Zayn, like an idiot, took his eyes off the prize, and in less than 8 minutes, Rick Boogs rolled up Sami Zayn for the 1-2-3. And afterwards, Johnny Knoxville came out and threw Zayn over the top rope, and Mike Rome announced that Johnny Knoxville was going to be in the Rumble. Man, Samuel Zayn. I really do hope that contract's worth it. I really hope that contract's worth it. I mean, you were embarrassed by Johnny Knoxville, who's not even a WWE superstar. Johnny Knoxville's taking up a spot in the Royal Rumble that realistically could be yours. And on top of that, you're the number one contender for the Intercontinental title, and you lost to the assistant musician to the Intercontinental Champion. Man, I really do hope that you're happy, Samuel Zayn. I really do hope that contract is worth it, man. I really do hope it's worth it. Because, man, you are being booked so brilliantly. Am I right? Buried is Sami Zayn. I don't want to hear a fucking word out of anyone. Johnny Knoxville now is a part of the Royal Rumble. Yes, because we need some type of celebrity from a movie series that I never cared about, and a lot of people never cared about. We're watching a celebrity from a movie series of people legitimately putting themselves in scenarios where they could legitimately die, and now we're in a scenario where Johnny Knoxville of Jackass is taking up a spot in the Royal Rumble over someone who should realistically be in that spot. Unless I see Walter come out and chop the shit out of Johnny Knoxville, this is a waste of time. Unless Walter comes out and caves in Johnny Knoxville's chest with his bare paw hand, this is a complete waste of time, and I don't want to hear a word out of anyone. Charlotte Flair fucking Flair. I'm pretty sure everyone knows what I'm going to say. I don't need to say it. I think that everyone here can say it themselves. I think Rob Wells Jr. just said it himself. So please, if everyone could, please type in the correct code in the chat. Please. Thank you, Lisa. Rob did it. Lisa did it. Everyone should do it. So, Charlotte Flair came out. Now, there was a lot to go into this segment. Here we go. Dylan did it. Earl did it. Thank you. That's the code here. I need an FCF from everyone in the chat. If you're not, you're getting blocked. There we go. Dee. There we go. Chris 2K. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the fuck Charlotte Flair abbreviations. But she came out, did Charlotte Flair. She went over the New Year's resolutions of everyone, but she said that her New Year's resolution is to make history. So Charlotte Flair, they trot Charlotte Flair out there, and they have Charlotte Flair reveal. She fucking revealed about half of the field. She revealed half of the individuals competing in the Royal Rumble for the women. I kid you not. Then, she announced herself. Naomi then came out. She said, "You can put that title up on the line against me tonight." Charlotte asked, "What have you done to deserve a match with me?" Naomi goes, "Well, I know I've done this." So she slapped the shit out of Charlotte Flair and sent Charlotte out of the ring, leading into commercial. Okay, so first off, Well, there are three things that I want to dissect with this. Three things. Let's dissect the first thing. The first thing has to do with them revealing half of the field for the Women's Royal Rumble. They revealed Rhea Ripley, Nikki Ash, and the Bella Twins, and Kelly, Lita, Mickie James. They legitimately revealed a good majority of surprises. They legitimately revealed a good majority of surprises, and they revealed half of the field in the Rumble. Now, we could still get some surprises, especially from NXT, but you legitimately revealed half of the Royal Rumble on a random episode of SmackDown with Charlotte Flair, pretty much destroying one of the biggest concepts about the Royal Rumble. And one of the biggest concepts about the Royal Rumble is surprises. One of the biggest concepts about the Royal Rumble is unpredictability. I mean, are you fucking for real? Are you fucking for real? WWE legitimately does not give a fuck about anything. They don't. Nothing is cool. Nothing is must-see. Nothing is a surprise anymore. You can add the Royal Rumble to the list of matches and gimmicks that WWE has absolutely fucking ruined right before our very eyes. They've ruined the concept of the Royal Rumble. You might as well not even have a Royal Rumble this year if that's what you're going to do. You're going to put Johnny Knoxville in it, and you're going to reveal half the field for the women. What a way to just shit all over the Women's Royal Rumble, man. What a way to just shit all over the concept of the Women's Royal Rumble. That's number one. Number two. Not only did WWE reveal half the field for the Women's Royal Rumble, but Charlotte Flair announced herself into the Royal Rumble. Charlotte Flair announced herself into the Royal Rumble. I mean, if it wasn't obvious enough, if it wasn't blatant enough, you legitimately just said to everyone, hey, we have absolutely no competition for Charlotte Flair, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to have Charlotte Flair pull a Brock Lesnar from 2020. She's going to enter into the Royal Rumble, and maybe we'll get something interesting out of that. Charlotte Flair is the SmackDown Women's Champion. You have no competition for your champion, so you pull the same move that you pulled with Lesnar from 2020. I mean, if that is not WWE admitting failure to you with the women's division, I don't know what is. This right here should serve as the biggest flag, like the most blatant sign. It's literally as if someone is waving a white flag in a black city. If all the buildings were black, pitch black, and all the windows and everyone's clothing was pitch black, this should be someone wearing all white in a city where everything is black, all white, like as white as a piece of paper, and everything is as black as this microphone. This should be sticking out like a sore thumb to everyone that WWE needs to end the brand split because they have no women's division on either show whatsoever. Should be as blatant can be. WWE is admitting to you that they have no competition for Charlotte and they have no women's division whatsoever. The brand split needs to end. It needs to end, and it needs to end ASAP. So that way you don't have to put one of your champions in the Royal Rumble. That's number two. Number three, I hear that some people want me to give my thoughts on this. Mickie James is in the Royal Rumble. She is the Knockouts Women's Champion. I find it so pathetic. I really do. I find it so pathetic how some people are actually in support of this. Oh my God, this is a great move. Oh my God, Mickie James is a trailblazer. Oh my God, this is the real Forbidden Door. Oh my God, this is some awesome material going on over here. I'm so proud of Mickie James. What the fuck are you proud of? What the fuck are you proud of? This woman spit in the face of everyone that came out in support of her less than a year ago when she was released. Mickie James spit in the face of everyone that came out in support of her when she was released, and they spit in the face of everyone that came out and supported her after WWE treated her like a piece of shit and sent her a trash bag of her belongings with her name on it. She revealed this to the public. We found out that this has been going on for years now. Jillian Hall, I believe, said that she got one when she was released. This has been going on for years now. She revealed something that has been going on for years and just further exposes how shitty this company is. She gathered up all of this fan support. She was pissed off that WWE was not going forth with an Evolution 2. She sponsored an all-women's pay-per-view for the NWA, created that, went to Impact. She went to Impact. She made an impact, no pun intended, in Impact, and won the Impact Knockouts Championship from Deonna Purrazzo, which she shouldn't have, but she did anyway. And at the end of all of this, she did all of that, and she still went back to the same exact company that treated her like a piece of shit and sent her a fucking garbage bag full of her stuff. She went back to that same company, all for a Royal Rumble appearance that's probably going to be a one-off. I don't know why everyone's getting so excited. This is nothing more than a one-off. WWE is not working with Impact. This right here is going to be nothing more than a one-off scenario because they got no fucking women, or it's going to be a scenario where WWE could potentially buy out Impact. So this is a scenario in which Mickie James took all of that support. She took all of the things that she did after she got released and after WWE treated her like a piece of shit. And she said, hey, I got no shame. I don't care. She lost all of my respect, and she has no respect for herself. She has no shame, and she has no sense of credibility whatsoever. She took all of that, gave a big middle finger to the fans, and went right back to work in a one-off as a Royal Rumble participant for the same company that treated her like shit, all for a Rumble appearance and a paycheck. Mickie James is no better than Zelina Vega. And I don't understand why everyone is getting so hyped up about this and why everyone is getting so excited about this. What exactly is so great about this? Oh my God, Impact's going to get more exposure. No, they're not. No, they're fucking not. Impact, and I don't give a shit who I piss off. I don't give a shit what anyone thinks. Impact is dead. Impact has been dead. WWE will gain nothing from working with Impact. Impact will gain nothing from working with WWE. If AEW and their partnership with Impact didn't go anywhere, and the fact that they did not gain any buzz from anything that AEW did, and that was the company and still is the company that has the most buzz around it, if they couldn't gain any traction from Impact, or AEW rather, if Impact couldn't gain any traction from AEW, nothing will. Impact is in the same exact position that it was years ago. It will remain in the same exact position until either A, the end of time, B, they go under and fold, or B, or C rather, A, they pretty much the world ends. A, the world ends. B, they go under and fold, or C, someone buys them out. That's it. Impact is dead. No one cares. Impact has such a small, minuscule fan base. A small, minuscule fan base to a point where no one cares. What you see on social media is about 3% of the wrestling fan base that actually cares about Impact Wrestling. Nobody gives a shit about Impact Wrestling. They are at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to professional wrestling buzz. Right underneath WWE. It's WWE and Impact as numbers 1 and 2. Plain and simple. Impact is in the same position as WWE, but only because of the fact that Impact is in a lesser position, a much lesser position financial-wise, because Impact management team, they do not have someone that's as slick and sly of a businessman as Vince McMahon. If Vince wasn't a sly businessman that can literally just shit out money within 5 minutes if he wanted to, Vince McMahon and his business tactics are the only thing that's kept WWE afloat. If Vince wasn't as good of a businessman as he was, they would be in the same exact position as Impact. Until Impact goes under, until someone buys them out, or until the world ends, Impact is going to stay in the same exact position that it's in right now. It's dead. It will remain dead. If you don't like it, tough shit. The truth is the truth, as Matt Hardy says. And Mickie James going back to WWE, that just goes to show you how little respect that she has for herself, how little respect she has for the industry, and how little respect that she has for everyone that came out in support of her when she called out WWE for being a bunch of assholes and sending her that trash bag. And it goes to show you that there's a lot of fucking wrestlers that are two-faced. Mickie James is a piece of trash, and she is no better than Zelina Vega. And you should be fucking pissed at Mickie James. You should be fucking pissed at Mickie James for giving a big old middle finger right to the fans, all for a Royal Rumble appearance and a paycheck. If you're in support of Mickie James, you're part of the problem. And I got no respect for you, and I condemn you. I condemn you all. We get a match with Charlotte Flair and Naomi. Championship contenders match. I'm not going to lie. This was not a terrible match. Matter of fact, this was better than terrible. This was better than not terrible. I thought that this was actually a very good match. I actually enjoyed this match more than I enjoyed the main event. This match was actually a very good match. Not going to lie. Very good match. But at the end of the day, it's nothing more than a bridge to continue the Sonya Deville-Naomi storyline, which, by the way, I don't know where this is going. It's been the same exact shit every single week. There's been no moving parts. There has been nothing that has even come close. There's been nothing that's even come close to showing us that Naomi is actually going to get her just due. And by the way, where's Xia Li? Where's Xia Li? She'll be on the cut list sooner rather than later. The match itself was actually very good. Naomi hit a blockbuster off the barricade to Charlotte. She was about to be counted out before Sonya came out and said, this match cannot be won via countout. Charlotte took over coming back from commercial. Naomi was then told by Sonya that the match can only be won by pinfall or submission. Charlotte then with a terrible looking Andrade moonsault. Naomi kicked out. Naomi with a double boot. Both women are down. Charlotte with a backbreaker STO for a 2. Naomi came back with a facebuster for a 2. Charlotte inevitably won with the natural selection in a very good match. I'm not going to bullshit you. A very good match. But at the end of the day, this was nothing more than a scenario in which Naomi and Sonya Deville are being put out there and they're doing the same exact shit over and over again. Sonya Deville is pretty much in the position of Stephanie McMahon. Stephanie never got her comeuppance. She never did. And I do not believe that Sonya Deville is ever going to get her comeuppance. I don't think Naomi's ever going to get her just due. I'd be shocked if Naomi doesn't get released this year. I know we say that about everyone, but I'm serious. They don't give a shit. Look at what they did to Triple H. They'll absolutely do that to Naomi, whether or not she is married to Jimmy Uso. Happy Corbin. He came out for Happy Talk, which was terrible as per usual. They replayed what happened to Drew McIntyre at day 1. And then they actually said that Drew was here. They introduced Drew, but it was actually Madcap Moss dressed as Drew McIntyre. Moss with a terrible Scottish accent. He was mocking Drew before the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders came out. We got a tag team match, and Moss won the match for himself and Corbin as the Viking Raiders look like scrubs in the end. Great. Main event. Main event. A little bit of a clunky main event, I'm telling you right now. Clunky main event. Samoan street fight. A little sloppy here and there. Not terrible. Pretty solid match, but I mean, how many times can we see the New Day versus the Usos over and over and over again? New Day. New Day, we're taking the fight to the Usos on the outside. Woods hit a slingshot DDT for a 2. We had a pop-up Samoan drop by Jimmy for a 2. Things got very sloppy. Kingston completely fucking botched the SOS. Did not look good at all. Usos used the steel steps against the New Day. Woods jumped out of the crowd onto the Usos. Coming back from a second commercial, the New Day with an electric chair crossbody. Woods brought in a knight costume, a gladiator hat, and a golden chest plate. They hit the Usos with it. We had Woods bringing out a table. We had super kicks back and forth between Kofi and Jimmy. We had a Trouble in Paradise on Jay, but Jimmy saved the match. The Usos then with double super kicks to Woods and Kofi. And then they set up the table and they delivered the 3D, or they call it the 1D, actually. The 1D through the table, and the Usos retain. Match was good, but out of all the New Day Usos matches we've seen, this was the weakest. The absolute weakest, because they've done these matches to absolute death. They've done it to death. Very good match. Good match, though. Not better than the pay-per-view match, though. Not better than the pay-per-view match. Usos retain. And Christ, the Usos retained. I'd like to hope that we see the Viking Raiders versus the Usos at WrestleMania, and the Viking Raiders win the titles. In the back, Roman Reigns was waiting the arrival of his Royal Rumble opponent as Adam Pearce was instructed to choose Roman Reigns' opponent. In came Seth Rollins, and he laughed in Roman's face. Seth Rollins is Roman Reigns' Royal Rumble opponent. Now, a few things. Number one, clearly they are showing everyone that the brand split doesn't mean jack shit anymore. Brand split is jack shit. They have run out of opponents for Roman Reigns, so now they're taking superstars from Monday Night Raw. Well, they ran out of opponents for Roman a long time ago. Let's be real here. They ran out of opponents for Roman a long time ago, so instead they called upon John Cena and Edge and Brock Lesnar, and now they're calling upon Monday Night Raw superstars. So clearly, the brand split doesn't mean jack shit. They have no competition for Roman. But I will say this one positive thing. With the possibility of it could have been Bill Goldberg, I thought it was going to be Goldberg. I'm not even a bullshit you. I legitimately thought that it was going to be Goldberg. I am not bullshitting. I legitimately thought Adam Pearce was going to come in and announce that Goldberg is Roman Reigns' opponent at the Royal Rumble. Considering that the possibility of Goldberg was there, I will take Seth Rollins 8 times out of the week, twice on Sundays, over Bill Goldberg. I don't care. I'll take Seth Rollins over Goldberg. Now, unfortunately, I still have a feeling that we are going to get Bill Goldberg, because Andrew Zarian, he did report this week on the Mat Men podcast that there's a Saudi event. There's a Saudi event going down on February 19th, which is a Saturday. There's a Saudi Arabian event going down on February 19th, and I would not be surprised if we do see Goldberg make a return to get Roman through the Saudi event before we inevitably get Roman and Lesnar at WrestleMania. So, unfortunately, I don't think we're out of the Bill Goldberg woods yet. But comparing Bill Goldberg to Rollins, I'll take Rollins any day of the week. That was Rampage. Not Rampage, SmackDown. We're going to talk about Rampage next, and then we're going to get out of here. That was SmackDown. Drew McIntyre, he's injured. It was originally supposed to be Drew, I know, trust me. But Drew got injured. He has a little bit of a contusion in his neck, I believe, but he should be back sooner rather than later. That was SmackDown. Very lackluster, very boring show overall. I don't care. I'm not sure who the fuck cares about SmackDown. I really don't. Let us take a break and actually acknowledge the fact. No, we're not acknowledging Roman Reigns. We're acknowledging the fact that we have reached 20 likes. We have reached 20 likes. Don't worry. You don't have to hang around too long, because we're going to talk about Rampage and then we're going to get out of here. We got Battle of the Belts tonight. Should be a halfway decent show. Rampage was a pretty solid show. Pretty solid show overall. I enjoyed Rampage. We had some really good wrestling on Rampage. I gotta say. The first match on the show was actually a very good match. We had Adam Cole versus Jake Atlas. Now, I'm not really very high on Jake Atlas, but I'm not going to discredit the fact that he's a very good professional wrestler. He's not really going anywhere. But he's a very good pro wrestler. Matter of fact, I would even go so far as to say that this was probably the best match that I've ever seen Jake Atlas wrestle. This was probably the best match I ever seen Jake Atlas wrestle. This was a very good match, but no shit, it was with Adam Cole. But Jake Atlas and Adam Cole, they did very well together. They worked very well. I mean, Adam Cole can work with anybody. So both men traded counters back and forth early on. Atlas kept on the aggression. Adam Cole shoved Atlas off the top rope. He regained control. Cole caught with a rolling elbow. Cole then caught Atlas with a backbreaker as Atlas came in with a springboard off the rope. Atlas came back with a Hurricane Rana, a Wrecking Ball dropkick, and a suicide dive. Really nice stuff there by Jake Atlas. Jake Atlas with a springboard dropkick for a 2. Cole came back with a punt kick and an Ushi-Goroshi for a 2. We had back and forth counters from Jake Atlas and Adam Cole. We had a super kick and a clothesline by Atlas. Cole was taken down, but Cole came back with a big brainbuster on the knee for a 2. Atlas, this was a beautiful move right here. I'm not sure if you guys saw this, but this was a beautiful move right here. Atlas, he had Cole in a suplex position. He hoisted Cole up in the air. Cole came back up in the air, and he came down with Adam Cole. A suplex toss into a power bomb. It looked beautiful. Probably the most beautiful move I've seen Jake Atlas deliver. Awesome stuff right there. That got a 2 count. Atlas then came off the top with a springboard. Cole hit a super kick on Atlas, but Atlas did not land on his knee correctly. He said his knee's going to be fine, though, but ultimately, Cole had to call an audible. He locked in a heel hook, and Atlas tapped out because of pain to his knee. Very good match. I actually thought this was one of the best matches of the week. Really good stuff right here by Jake Atlas and Adam Cole. Afterwards, Cole, Fish, and O'Reilly were about to attack before Orange Cassidy took out a chain, and then he brought out Chuck Taylor and Trent and Wheeler Yuta, and they saved Jake Atlas. Dustin Rhodes, he will be replacing Cody Rhodes tonight at Battle of the Belts against Sammy Guevara to crown an interim TNT champion. I'm not really interested in that simply because of the fact that the interim championship reigns, I fucking hate that in wrestling. It's so fucking stupid in wrestling, especially in a scenario where Cody Rhodes is not going to be out for months. Cody Rhodes is only going to be out for a week or 2? Just push the match back with Sammy Guevara. Put Jurassic Express on the show. Have them defend the tag team titles. Who cares, dude? Who cares if the match gets pushed back? We don't need an interim TNT championship. Now, that's nothing against Dustin. I'm pretty sure Dustin and Sammy are going to have a very good match. but still, it doesn't really make too much sense. Aaron Solo, he took on Hook. Hook was great in this match, as per usual. Hook, he's over as fuck as well. He's going to be a major fucking star, a mega star within the next few years. Hook won with the Red Rum, otherwise known as the Tasmission, but he calls it the Red Rum. Afterwards, QT, he got in the face of Hook, and QT caught a big capture suplex, a backdrop driver that dropped him right on his head afterwards. So QT got his ass handed to him. Hook versus QT Marshall, I expect to happen very, very soon. I think that would be Hook's first legitimate test in AEW. They announced that at Battle of the Belts tonight, it's going to be Ricky Starks versus Matt Sydal for the FTW World Championship. I got no issue with that. Ricky Starks is fantastic. I love Matt Sydal. I think that they should actually start putting a little bit more effort into the FTW World Championship. So I got no issue with Ricky Starks challenging Matt Sydal. No issue at all. Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Riho and Ruby Soho. Pretty decent stuff right here. Nothing too crazy, but it was a pretty decent match. Soho and Riho isolated Britt. Britt took advantage off of Rebel's distraction. Coming back from commercial, Ruby Soho with a backdrop driver. She tagged in Riho. Riho hit a Hurricane Rana and a 619 to Jamie Hayter. Baker came in. Riho with a kick off of Britt Baker into a nice swinging DDT on Jamie Hayter for a 2. We had a rolling elbow by Baker and a backbreaker by Hayter. Soho saved it. Hayter then accidentally hit Baker. Riho rolled up Jamie Hayter for the 1-2-3. And obviously, this is nothing more than a scenario in which they are building up suspense. Riho's never beaten Britt Baker for Britt Baker to inevitably defeat Riho. And that was pretty much that. Main event. Main event was, as Earl Cole says, woolly, wily, and all over the place. Main event was Daniel Garcia and 2.0 versus Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful. No DQ, no rules match. The brawl immediately started in the back during the picture-in-picture interview with Mark Henry. They just said, as did Proud and Powerful and Eddie Kingston, they said, you know what, fuck this interview. They went right after 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, and the brawl started immediately. Very, very quick paced. It got out of control quickly. Eddie Kingston got a trash can. He smashed it over Garcia. This was just pure chaos, crazy, chaotic, all over the place, all action, no filler, high octane offense, no down periods. It was just crazy. So he hit Garcia with the trash can, did Eddie Kingston. He then put the trash can around Garcia's head, and he kicked the trash can into Garcia's head. Afterwards, Santana took a drink from the crowd, threw it at Matt Lee and Ortiz. They brawled into the crowd. We had stereo suplexes as Garcia and Parker were taken out. The heels then took over during the commercial. We had a beautiful roll-through cutter by Santana on Matt Lee. A flapjack on Parker. Kingston then came in with an exploder suplex on Garcia. We had a beautiful frog splash by Santana on Parker, but Lee was able to save it. Lee then threw powder salt. He threw like this powder in the face of I believe it was Ortiz, and then he hit a DDT. Kingston was then held up by 2.0. Garcia hit Eddie Kingston with the ring bell, and he kicked out. Kingston was able to kick out. Parker then brought in duct tape. He brought out duct tape, but Kingston tried to stop him. Kingston was given a triple suplex through the table. Santana used a chair on Garcia and Parker. Garcia and Ortiz then traded shots, but then Garcia was ultimately taken out by a discus lariat combo by Proud and Powerful, and Proud and Powerful rightfully win the match, and Proud and Powerful get the win in a crazy match. I can absolutely see Proud and Powerful as the next in line to take the titles off of Jurassic Express. Jericho then came out to help Kingston and Proud and Powerful, and the heels ran off. Pretty decent episode of Rampage. Nothing too over the top, nothing too overly crazy, but the show did its job. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. We went over 3 hours, people. We went over 3 hours. Awesome stuff. Thank you to everyone who stopped by. Thank you, Lisa, Rob Wells Jr., Jesse Callen, Earl Cole, Dee Dee. Dee Dee, of course, is my number one mod. Thank you, Adam Carl. Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate each and every single one of you. Check out all the links in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. Get ready tomorrow for the rewind for AEW Battle of the Belts with, of course, Mr. B-Mac. Mr. B-Mac, because B-Mac is my guest. He's a good guy. He's a member of the Midwest Marks podcast crew. He'll be joining me to review everything Battle of the Belts related. It's going to be a good show. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I'll see you tomorrow. I'm DJ Storms. This has been the LFU, and I will catch you tomorrow. Peace out.